You know the day destroys the night, night divides the day. Try to run, try to hide, break on through to the other side, break on through to the other side, break on through to the other side.
God bless America. Welcome to The Ranch, everybody, the podcast where we explore the people and happenings of Dry Creek Ranch and the greater Eagle area. Sad news, obviously. Horrible traffic accident on the 55, and not the first. So just a quick PSA. Please be careful on the 55. Right after we heard about the horrible accident a couple days ago, one of my friends almost obliterated somebody. He was driving on the northern side of the property. He was about to make a right turn to go up golfing, and the person in the left-hand turn lane just decided to jump out of his car to check something. So this passenger jumps out of the car into the lane that my friend's driving. He's in a giant jacked-up truck. He has to slam on his brakes, ride the side of the road. He goes into the ditch. He's able to get out. But just unbelievable. The number of traffic accidents around this area is very, very high, so please be careful. Lana Walsh would also like to remind everybody that if you are interested at all in the charter school, please do attend the hearing tomorrow. There are details on the Facebook page, but the bottom line is West Ada is not inclined to donate this land, but they are going to take their sweet time developing it, roughly 10 plus years. We won't have any control of whether the kids are coming from Dry Creek Ranch or otherwise, so people are going to be busting. There are a lot of things that are left to be wanting with the plan as exists right now, so if you are interested at all, check out the details on Facebook. Also, shout out to WA Boise Construction. My boy Mike Whitney helped me build this studio. We built it together in just about 3 weeks. It was awesome. He's also done a ton of work around my house and around my neighbors' houses. Again, WA Boise Construction. This is not a sponsored ad. He did not pay me to say this. He's my neighbor. I have worked with him. He does great work, and everybody I've spoken with that used him had great work as well. So if you're looking for things around your house or around wherever, hit him up. My guest today is the former world famous head of the HOA social committee. She is a rampant planner, high octane individual, fantastic person. I don't know the last time I had a podcast where I sat with somebody who I had never met before and just, man, had a great time. She's wonderful, and she's committed so much of her time to this community, and it was wonderful to hear from her and about why she's doing it, and it was sad to hear about the things that had happened, but she also has some great recommendations on how she thinks we can best move forward. So without further ado, the woman, the myth, the legend, Trish Hernandez.
Everyone wants to hear this, so, I mean, you have no idea. Everyone's like, Trish, what happened? But I'll be honest, at the meeting, when everyone was just like, how dare you? I was like, wow. And I actually feel good. Everyone else is still kind of angry. I'm like, you really should yell at people more. It's a good thing.
Well, for the record, I would like people to know, and you can confirm this, I reached out to you before that happened.
You did.
Because I was like, here's this person who is putting extreme amounts of effort into the community. She obviously cares deeply about the people here and the happenings and wants to invest in it. I was like, I want to talk to that person. And it was just bonkers to see everything play out like it did at the HOA meeting. It was like, was this planned? Like, is this some kind of reality show?
Yeah, now it's juicy. Where before it was just like, hey, we're doing this, and now you've got something, right?
Right, but I wasn't intending it to be this crisis thing.
No, but now you've got something to spice it up a bit.
Okay, so walk me back. When did you become part of the social committee? How was it organized? Walk me through your experience, because I think everybody now is realizing, like, oh, Trish has been going through the suck this whole time.
So first of all, I wanted to say that the social thing started way before I did it. And it's the Foxes with the Friendship Thanksgiving. It was the Dades with I hope I'm saying their name right, with the Cornhole Tournament. It's the Frames that helped out with the Easter. It's the Vatones who still do their stuff. It was way before Boise Hunter did anything with it. But everybody gets jobs. Everybody, they have babies, they have kids. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. I'm living the retired life with a 13-year-old. So I was just like, you know what? My kid doesn't leave in the house. He needs to make friends. I need to make friends. So let me do some stuff. And they were happy to do it. But I have to say, when we moved in, we saw that on Facebook. We saw the Friendship Thanksgiving. I mean, we wanted that. We wanted that feeling. We all moved from California or Oregon or Washington, wherever the heck you're from. And we wanted that feeling. And so I wanted to give everybody that feeling. So I started it a year once I got here. And I was doing it for a year with just, random people on our own with limited money. And everyone loved it. And I think Boise Hunter saw that. And they said, oh, I can I can use that. I can sell a house. I can put that on a flyer, you know? So they decided to form, I guess, the social committee. And then you had to put a resume, which I didn't. And then like, resume for a volunteer job I was already doing. I mean, come on. And then you had to put an application in, which I was just like, look, I've done all this. If you would like me, I would like to do it. So, and then that's just kind of how it came about. And I guess other people put in their resumes and applications as well, and they picked from the pile.
And was that actually almost like exactly a year ago in August 2021? Because
I believe it was. I mean, to be honest, they didn't tell us it was a year contract. We didn't even sign anything, at least that I recall. And Tina doesn't recall it, and Gina. And the people who first were picked were me, Tina Dagry, and Debbie Pruitt, which will be interesting later when we get to there. But
okay, so you guys were already doing like Friendsgivings, really organizing.
Well, yeah,
the
that was Rachel Fox. That was all of phase one. They were doing all of that. But then, you know, Rachel had a baby, adorable little boy, and then the Dades just wanted to do their cornhole tournament, and I think the frames went back to work, and Tammy Vitone still does her stuff, which is amazing. You know, I love it. And so we just decided that we were going to do different things, and then I sort of took it over, and they were happy to let me. And like I said, Boise Hunter saw that.
Okay, so you guys had an independent thing.
Yes, totally on our own.
You were just being social. And so then the Boise Hunter Homes, like, hey, these residents have really kind of organized. They're putting all this awesome stuff. Why don't we make a social committee, a home HOA social committee, and theoretically use some of our funds and bring this into the fold as some degree of a marketing arm of BHH?
Well, of course. I mean, you know, they're not going to do it just because of the kindness of their heart. At least I don't think they would. So, I mean, if they sold whole houses, why not? So, yeah. So I kind of feel that that's what they did. So, yes. I'm going to just say yes.
Just say yes. So, okay. But you didn't know this at the time.
No. We just went into it going, oh, look, we've paid in our HOA funds. We pay every, what is it, $500 every, right, whatever it is. I'm like, so
they're $900 if you're late.
Yeah.
FYI.
Don't be late, people. So we pay our $500 or $1,000 a year. So it would make sense that they would do something for us with the money that we give them, besides putting in another retention pond or the Shrek pond, you know, the swamp. Come on, have you been in that basin behind the club, behind the basin, behind across from the barn? Yeah. Have you been there? I mean, come on, West Nile virus, hello. There's so many mosquitoes back there. The soccer field? I'm looking for Shrek. I really am.
I'm going to have to go ahead and like green screen a Shrek in.
Please do. Please do.
Shrek pond. Okay, so around August of 2021, you and the other members, you don't technically sign anything, but they say, hey, guess what? You ladies are now the social committee for BHH. Congratulations. You say, oh, thank you very much. And they say, now get going.
Exactly. And I have to say, I don't think they knew what they were doing per se, because they didn't really give us any oversight, which was great. And we didn't spend a lot of money in the beginning, you know, a little here, a little there. But basically all we wanted was the clubhouse. We wanted a place to meet. So waive the $50 fee for the clubhouse, which they did, which was nice. And so it was like a honeymoon period for the first 3 months. Everything was lovely. They were happy. We were happy. And you're right. We didn't really think about them using it to sell homes. We just were like, oh, they're giving us our money back to do stuff with. And so let's do it. And we were just trying to figure out, Tina, Debbie actually had to leave because she moved to Mexico. Way to go, Debbie.
Debbie.
Debbie. No, we love Debbie.
Downer.
Debbie is Honey Badger. God, I love her. She just doesn't. Honey Badger don't care. I love Debbie. And so she, you know, and then Gina Tomasini was the one that filled her spot. So we were at the harvest fair. We were doing all of our scarecrows. We were like, oh, look how exciting, pumpkin carving. Everybody was happy. Tina's Mary Poppins with a gun. She was so excited. I love that girl. I have to do an impression of her later. I love her. Like, I'm more Rowdy Piper that's going to hit you with a chair in the ring if you're a wrestling fan. Anybody a wrestling fan? Do you remember Rowdy Piper?
Cauliflower ear. Look at that.
Whoa. Who hit you with the chair?
Well, you know, mankind. Oh my God, they killed him. Oh my God.
I remember that fell?
Yes. Thank you. God bless you. You might
See?
be the only other person in all of Dry Creek that got my reference.
I really love 80s wrestling. I mean, it's the best. So I'm Rowdy Piper hitting you with a chair on Piper's
God.
Pit, and she's Mary Poppins and so sweet and the gun. And Gina's just like low key. She's just like, I'm just going to let everybody else do their thing. You know, like you talk and I'll get in every once in a while. It's hard to get in between us.
Okay, so
Sorry, tangent.
No, you're great. You're great. Okay, Rowdy, just tough. All right, so we're in September. We're in October. We're doing fun pumpkin carving stuff. They're waiving the $50 fee. You guys aren't spending a ton of money. They're not asking anything from you. So they essentially just said, "Hey, we're gonna bring you in and let you be like a bigger focus here, and you don't just have to hang out. Like we do a lot of things on West Cardinal, but we keep to West Cardinal. So it'd kind of be like they're like, hey guys, you're getting these giant bounce houses. Like, Matt,
Are you guys the bounce houses that are like every weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, that's legit. Yeah. I mean, honestly, we drive by there and I'm like, not another bounce house.
Yeah. Well, 3 of the people on the street own bounce houses. So
Get
they
out.
don't
They're their
mess
own?
around. So, okay, on 4th
That's
of
awesome.
July.
That is awesome.
On 4th of July, we did get 2 rentals. Now, the 2 rentals required generators and 4 pumps. Like, they were in 3 parts. I was roasting a pig all night long. Like, it was epic.
You roasted a pig?
I roasted a pig.
Did it come out
amazing.
okay? Because that's hard to roast a pig.
You know what? Everybody says that. I've never missed my target.
Is it a whole pig?
Oh, whole pig.
What, do you put it in the ground?
No. Okay, so that's actually steaming. So if you put it in the ground, then you're counting on moisture to actually cook it, and that's a very high risk because if you don't put enough thermal mass in there, if you don't have enough heat, once you cover it, it won't actually cook all the way. And it's, again, a big risk. I have a custom smoker that I made, and everybody looked at me like, "You have a smoker?"
Man, you're into this pig thing.
Hey, come by next year.
Seriously, I am coming by next year for the pig thing.
God bless
I was
it.
going to stop by, but then I'm like, well, it's kind of random. I mean, I'm like,
You should
people.
have stopped by.
I would have been like, hey, I would have jumped on the slide a bit, maybe
It
got
would
some
have been
pig,
great.
but
Okay.
I had my own thing going on.
Side note, so I go to pick up
sorry.
a pig at Gem State Meat Packing, okay, in Garden City. And by the way, they make their own chorizo on site. It's custom. I didn't have it, but the place smelled great. So I'm like, hey, I'm Matt. I'm here to pick up the pig. Like, all right, go wait outside. So I have my Highlander there, and I got this giant bin from Home Depot. I'm like, okay, perfect. This bin should be big enough. So the pig comes out, and guy looks at me. He's like, that ain't fitting in there.
Gonna get a bigger boat, right? You need a bigger boat.
What do you mean it's not fitting in there? And he's like, it's not fitting. So this pig is literally like 5 feet long. I'm like, well, look, can't we just, fold it? And he was like, no, it's frozen rock solid. So this pig, no joke, we're like, get in! I can't get the lid on, and we finally ram it into the back, but the pig's snout is hanging out of the box, smashed against the back window. So if you saw my car from the back, there's this like upside down pig face.
Welcome to Idaho, people.
Yeah, right. Anyway, it came out very well. So it was essentially like if they saw us having a great time with the bounce houses, they're like, hey guys, would you like to do that kind of like as a sponsored thing over at the clubhouse? Let's bring bounce houses. Maybe we'll give you some money for bounce houses. But like you do you, just do you on a slightly bigger scale. And
Exactly.
we're like, okay, cool. Okay, so this is working for you guys for the first few months.
And because we are also trying to figure out what to give the community. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what can we do with the money we have? And everyone has to understand that when we buy these things or pay for these things, it's our money. Like, no, not HOA money, but my money. So, or Tina's money or Gina's money. So I was the lead. They picked me as the lead because obviously I had been doing it for the entire year. And they were like, oh, if you're already doing it, you might as well do it. So anything that was purchased was on my credit card. And then 1 to 2 months later, if the check didn't bounce, which it bounced twice, then I would get the money back. So you can see why I was hesitant for future events to be putting things on a credit card. Because A, I don't really need the credit card debt. And B, what if the check bounces? And it bounced twice and it was humiliating. We had to go to the bank. So it's not like I really trust them with their cash flow.
Right. Okay, so towards the end of 2021, you're still doing these events, but you're starting to see like, hey, man, what's the deal here? Because we were having a great time and you guys wanted us to start doing these things. And now you're not really, even from a financial standpoint, upholding your end of the bargain.
Well, it all was going good. Like Easter was great, glow in the dark egg hunt. Everybody loved it. Yay. Kids made out with some money. Some kids didn't, but that's the way life works. And but then it came time to summer, and I'm like, Tina, Gina, man, we got to do something big. Let's put on a show, kind of thing. So we decided to do the summer kickoff, and I talked to Kristen about it. So people have to understand, too, that as the lead, I had monthly budget meetings. I had yearly budget meetings. I had event budget meetings. I had, at the time, I didn't have this, but then I got added approval meetings because after this thing happened, I needed approval for everything. And then I had to pick up signs. I had to take down signs for them. I had to store things. I had to let people into the clubhouse. So as the lead...
Wait, back up. You were having monthly budget meetings
because
their checks were bouncing.
Yeah, and so I had to do the budget. So I did the budget for the year. So then I would talk to them about the budget for that month because it was an event. And so I would say, so let's say for Christmas. And Christmas is Tina and Gina's thing. I'm like, I'll book whatever you want, but I'm just not going to really do Christmas. Even though I love Christmas, don't get me wrong, people, I love Christmas. I'm just not the Christmas person for them. And that's something I'm going to talk about later because something happened with Tina that I'm really upset about for Tina, and I'll tell you about it later.
Did she steal your Grinch costume?
No, Boise Hunter took her wagon. Can I say it now? Okay, I know I'm going all over the place.
You just go.
Okay,
Piper.
I'm sorry. Give me my chair. I'm all over the place. I'm sorry. It's kind of the way my brain works.
You're good.
I like a little chaos.
You're good. I'll bring you back. So what are you saying about the wagon?
Okay, so surprise, we booked you guys a Christmas wagon, a horse-drawn carriage, because Tina Dagree, it's her baby. She wanted it, and I wanted Tina to have it. So I found a wagon, and then Tina took over. And now because they let us go, it's their wagon. And poor Tina, who wanted it for so long and really fought for it. She had all this, she did the whole explanation as to why it was amazing. She had a beautiful story to go with it. And they took her wagon. I'm so upset for her. You have no idea.
Can we make a shirt that says they
took my wagon? It's okay, though, because I will say this. No matter what happens, Tina... We got something for Tina.
Okay, wait, back. Okay.
Sorry, I'm all over the place.
So did you get the wagon in 2021, or were you literally planning for 3-4 months from now a horse-drawn carriage wagon thing coming through DCR, doing rides and stuff?
We booked the wagon in June.
Okay, so
for December.
So this year you were gonna have Tina on some wagon with a horsey. And she was going to be happier than a pig in poo.
Oh, she's going to be so happy.
And so now that they have unceremoniously fired you, this has become
no longer her
HOA wagon.
Not her wagon.
Not the Tina wagon.
They took her wagon. I'm telling you, her story was beautiful. I mean, she saw it. She loved it. It was Christmas. I mean, I wanted Tina to have this wagon. So I was one night, when I'm bored, you just look at your phone and I'm like, let me see if I can find a wagon. I'm like, well, look, I found a wagon. So then I contacted the woman. The woman immediately got back to me. She's way out there. She's in California, but she's like, I will bring my horses for a wagon. And I'm like, sweet. So I told Tina, and then I'm like, Tina, this is your thing. Too many hands in the soup. You handle it. So then Tina worked through it, handled it, made the HOA deal with it, pay for it, the whole shebang. And now she doesn't get to enjoy. I mean, she'll ride the wagon, but it's not the same thing. I mean, she wanted to have, oh my God, hot cocoa bar. She wanted to have a choir. She wanted to have so much stuff for the residents of the community. Not because it was something she wanted for everybody so they could experience what she had experienced. What made her love this community was a horse-drawn carriage and just the beautiful kids on it and the magic of it all. And so she fought for it. She pushed for it. They let her go, and they took her wagon. And I'm so upset for her. Sorry, it sounds strange, but man, I'm more angry about that than I think than anything. Because Tina is the sweetest person in the world. Way nicer than me.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. Okay. All right, we're gonna put a pin in the wagon.
Yeah, come back to the wagon because
let's come back to the summer kickoff. And
that is when it happened.
Officially, Tina, I'm very sorry about your wagon. So the summer kickoff.
Okay.
Here we go. So you guys,
in May
of this year,
planned it.
You guys have been doing well. The Easter eggs went well. The haves and have-nots left. Some people with money, some people without. Happens in life. And you're like, hey, let's do this right. Let's hit a bang. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then I talked to Kristen in one of my meetings with her on the phone. And this isn't me bagging on Kristen. The woman's overworked. I mean, honestly, I don't know if she means half of the way. I think Boise Hunter puts a lot of pressure on her. When I talk to her, she's a lovely human being. And then after Boise Hunter talks to her, then she talks to me. She becomes someone that just got yelled at by Boise Hunter. And so she's got to take it out on someone. But other than that, I just want to say, I think Kristen's probably a lovely human being that just is overworked by Boise Hunter. So disclaimer out there. So I had one of my budget meetings with her. And I said, look, we want to go big. Like, I want to go big on this. I want to have food trucks. I want to have a water slide. I don't want the people in this community paying for a dime. Let's show them what the HOA can do for them. And she's like, oh, how wonderful. I'm going to do an impression. How wonderful. So lovely. Let's do that, Trish. And you know what's even better, Trish? Get sponsors. Get sponsors, Trish. We did that in Hidden Springs. We do that in all the HOAs. Get sponsors. And I'm like, wow. And she even gave me a sponsor. And I'm like, I wrote it down. Here's the sponsor. I'm going to contact them. And then I said, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, I already know someone because they had already asked to sponsor something. And I said, oh, I'll ask them. I said, what about real estate agents? And she said, oh, they're perfect. They love to sponsor things. So I'm thinking, yeah, I got them. And so when you tell me to go get something, I get. So that very night I had sponsors. I had $2,000, like 5 hours later.
Okay, just
Sorry.
a really quick side note. So was Kristen doing the HOA for Hidden Springs?
You know
too?
what? I don't know. I can't say for sure. I think she lived there.
Okay.
And I think she volunteered with them.
Okay. And they had sponsors.
They had sponsors, correct. Their HOA allowed sponsors.
Any fruit companies that happen to sponsor them?
I don't know.
Like Dole?
I don't know. I don't know Hidden Springs. I can't say.
I was just thinking maybe, pineapple sponsors. Anyway, let's keep going.
Do you know what? Someone had explained that to me. I had no idea. My husband's, I think I saw something. I'm like, oh, I love pineapples. Let's put that there. And my husband's like, do not do that. And I'm like, why? What does that mean? And I am no way an innocent, gullible woman. Do you know? I mean, I've done some stuff, and I'm just like.
We might have to cut this part.
You want me to start swearing?
Oh, my God.
Okay. Calm down.
Okay.
Sorry. Bringing it back.
So she says, hey, in other communities, we have done sponsored events, and it would be awesome. And
get extra money.
And you, Trish, are like, hell yeah.
I'm on
Honey
it.
Badger's on it. Piper, excuse me.
Yeah, Piper.
Piper's
Debbie
on it.
Pruitt's Honey Badger.
Honey Badger. So you get, what was it, $5,000 worth of sponsors?
No, I got, at that time, $2,000, and I worked my way up to $3,000.
Okay, so you had $2,000 within 12 hours.
That night.
Okay. So that night you have $2,000, and then you slowly worked up to $3,000. And these were going to be funds that went directly to the event. So the food trucks, the bounce houses, shaved ice, the whole thing.
Nobody was paying for anything.
It was going to be awesome. And what did these sponsors want in return?
Just a little marketing, like something on Facebook, something like signs, and a little
crazy.
table, like a little card table, like a poker table, so that they can put out like some free, this stuff they do for the kids. Like, here's a Frisbee with my name on it, or whatever it is. That's it. One of the sponsors didn't want anything, but I was like, no, you sponsor stuff. You have to have your name out there. And my sister in Connecticut is a party event planner for multi-cities, like an Idaho Expo kind of thing.
Sure.
So whenever I need advice on anything, especially this for sponsorship, I reached out to her because it's her wheelhouse. So she's like, no. Even if they don't want it, you still have to do it because they're giving you money and it's just what you do.
It's the right thing to do.
Exactly. So I was like, yeah, I'll do it. No problem.
Okay, so they didn't want to get up and hold court for 5 minutes each. They wanted, maybe a sign or a little card table with some stupid Frisbees.
Yeah, something mentioned on Facebook. Put your name on a flyer.
Okay, and who were, if I may ask, who were the? Can we not talk about the sponsors?
See, this is the thing.
Okay, forget it.
Well, actually, you know what? I can talk about the sponsor that caused. So I'm trying to be diplomatic about it, but there was one sponsor that actually they wrote down on a piece of paper for me that caused the problem. They didn't say it was her fault, but they said it would cause the problem. And I'm just going to say it. The Honey Badger herself. No one liked, people had problem with a real estate agent, whether it was Debbie or not, wasn't per se say they said it was Debbie. And she has a story to tell, but it's not my story. So it was, I got told that it was Debbie Pruitt, the real estate agent. was one of the main reasons, because other real estate agents complained. So let me take that back for a second. Not what I just said, but so at 9:00 at night, I have made my thing. It's Sunday night. I've made my flyer. I sent it to my sister. She's like, looks good to me. And so I posted on Facebook. Now at this time, Stephen, what's his last name? Seawick?
Oh, I have no. I know
Stephen. Let's just call him Stephen.
Stephen with a PH.
He is on our Facebook page, looking at everything we do, which I'll be honest, didn't make me very comfortable, because he's watching everything we do. And they tried to spin it as, oh, it's helpful for the community. We know what's going on. Or is it you just want to find out what we're doing? You know, I didn't really enjoy it. I mean, it's, I guess, a double-edged sword. So anyways.
No, it's not. It's no,
I'm trying to be diplomatic.
They don't need to know. Like, what are we doing? And first off, what are we, teenagers? No.
Well,
if you want to know what I'm doing, you can write me an email and say, hey, what's your plan for this? But you don't need to creep on our social group.
Well, he used to say it was because he did the quarterly reports, and it was easy to do it that way. And because the mayor, Brent Frame, is in charge of the group, a super nice guy, right? And he's like, yeah, sure, why not? I don't want the drama, just post. But he didn't realize.
The mayor?
We call him the mayor. Brent Frame in phase one. We call him the mayor because he's in charge of the Facebook page, and he's just like the super nicest guy. The whole family is.
Brent, you got to come in here and talk to me about your mayor.
Yep, he is the mayor.
Get in here.
Get him next.
Okay, keep going.
He's going to be like, please, Trish, come on.
Come on. God. So embarrassing.
Right? And so anyways, he was on our page. Stephen at the time was on our page. So I posted it at 9:00 at night on a Sunday night. By 9:20, I had received an angry text and an angry phone call demanding I take that down. How dare I post something without their approval? Take it down now.
Even though this was a recommendation from Kristen, the HOA person.
Yeah, I was completely just like, what? I was flabbergasted. I was like, what is happening? What? But of course, I'm like, okay, I'll take it down. And then I said, well, call me, let me know, we'll talk about it tomorrow. And she goes, yeah, we'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll talk about what's going on tomorrow.
And this was an
Kristen.
angry text from
Kristen, and an angry phone call from Kristen.
Okay.
At 9:20 at night on a Sunday.
So she said, hey, get sponsors. You say, great. You get sponsors. You post a flyer. And she says, how dare you?
Yeah, take it down now. And no explanation. Just take it down now. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, I'll take it down. And so
that's not a good way to communicate.
Well, I guess
9:20 at night.
Kristen got her butt chewed out, I'm assuming, by Boise Hunter. So she just immediately, you know how the flow of crap flows goes from you to me.
Listen,
to me.
I can get in trouble for something and talk respectfully to the person that I need to communicate with.
I think she was just stunned.
You know, hey, Trish, do me a solid. There's some snafu around sponsorship. Can you take that down? I'll call you first thing in the morning. I appreciate all your efforts.
Yeah.
That's all you have to say.
She was quite angry, and quite upset. And so I took it down, and then I'm waiting for a call. I call her the next day. I'm trying to figure out what's going on because, again, I have everything on my credit card. I have a food truck on my credit card. I have, or the guy wanted cash. So he wanted he's a small business. We've had him before. You know, whatever. Square costs money. Gateways cost money. The guy's just like, give me cash.
Venmo and cash.
Right, yeah. And so I wasn't putting anything else on my credit card for him after they bounced my check twice. So, but I had small things just to hold it. And so I had all this going all at the same time. Plus, at the same time, I had the yard sale going at the same time, dealing with that. So I'd call her several times. I text her. I have her private phone number. I text her. I was just like, what's happening? Nothing at all during the day. And I'm like, what the heck? So then by 5:30 on her drive home, she then decides to give me a phone call. And then she was just so upset. She's like, how did you do this? Why did you put that out there? And I'm like, what are you talking about? You told me to get sponsors. I know I told you to get sponsors. I'm like, and then I'm thinking in the back of my head, my inner monologue, you just got yelled at. You just got yelled at by Boise Hunter. And then I'm like,
why did you do this? You told me to.
Yeah,
I know I told you to.
Exactly.
It's like, wait, why did you call me then? What's going on?
So she's just like, you can't use sponsors. And I'm like, oh, yes, I can, because you told me to get them. The money is spent, and I've already given my word. And I left California because, no offense to the rest of California, or offense intended, I don't care. A lot of people don't stand by their word, you know? So I was like, I left that lifestyle to come to Idaho, which I thought was, you know, conservative, red state, sorry if you're not, but rolling in my political. But the thing is, I left for a reason. And I've always stood by my word. My nickname is the Hammer, but I may be the Hammer, but the one thing I am is honest and loyal. And I was going to stand by these sponsors, and I had already spent the money in my head, so to speak. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it was already portioned out, and I didn't want to rely on Boise Hunter to give me up to $2,000.
Right.
So after their check bounced.
So you're on the phone. It's 5:30. She's commuting home. She's obviously contradicting
cracking in and
herself.
out on her phone because she's in a dead zone. And I'm just like, what is going on? And then she said, do you know how many people we got phone calls from complaining about Debbie Pruitt, the real estate agent? Now, was it because it was Debbie Pruitt? I don't know. I can't say. But she said real estate agents don't like it. And I saved the note they gave me. She said, we got so many calls from real estate agents. I would have never allowed you to do that had I known. And I'm like, but I did tell you. And she's just like, I mean, literally, she was so angry. She goes, we'll talk about it another time.
Wait, so you did tell her?
I did tell her I was going to get real estate agents. I didn't mention them by name because at that point I didn't know. And the reason why I had Debbie Pruitt in the back of my head is because we were going to do the chili cook-off, which may have been before you moved in.
I moved in January this year.
Okay, so we were going to do a chili cook-off, and we wound up not being able to do it because if no one knows this, the clubhouse cannot support power. It cannot support a large amount of power. So we were going to have people chili in their crock pots.
Yeah, I was going to say you're going to have a ton of crock pots.
It can't support that many crock pots. It doesn't have the electrical grid for the crock pots.
We have generators on West Cardinal, just so you know.
Do you really?
Can bring them.
Yeah, it's a lot of stink and smell, but right?
We can do it outside.
Yeah, we could do it outside. Yeah, we were also like, do we do it outside? Do people want to eat chili? We were like, whatever, we don't know. So Debbie Pruitt at that point had reached out to me and said, hey, if you need money for this to buy like chafing dishes or generators, let's do it. But then I also said, well, I don't know, let's just cancel it and we'll revisit it. And to be honest, it's more hassle than it's worth because I'm the one picking up the chafing dishes. I'm the one picking up the generators. Right. So I'm like, let's just do something else. But she was in the back of my head. And also because her name's almost on every house here. Let's face it, she sells a lot of houses. So, and she also sponsored, in the beginning too, in phase 1, Debbie Pruitt sponsored the cornhole tournament with food trucks. And I'm like, well, she seems to be someone I can reach out to. It wasn't malicious. It wasn't me saying, oh, she's a better real estate agent than anyone else. It was just me going, this is what her behavioral pattern has been in the past. Let me reach out to her. She was more than happy to help. So they then, Boise Hunter and Kristen, were like, let me write it down. This is what they gave me. They said, not equitable for the 10 plus agents who live in DCR, many of who contacted me or Kristen. And it's not Debbie's fault, but it's not equitable to the other DCR agents. And I was like, but everyone is going to have a chance. And that comes later. So I'm on the phone and I'm like, I'm not giving up the sponsors. I'm not giving up the sponsors. I've already paid for this stuff. I'm not doing it. So then comes the meeting on May 4th, 2022. Dun, dun, dun.
Let me get a quick drink.
Yeah, I'm going to get some water.
Oh, my God. So, quick side note. Mm-hmm. Whenever somebody talks about equity now, I just my hands get clammy. I'm like, I can't. Because going through all of the, I was in education in California and hearing and just watching the train wreck in the name of equity, which no one can properly define. It's like, are you looking for equality of outcome? Is that equity? Yeah. Are you looking for access to the same services? Is that equity? Or is equity literally tailoring resources and plans and timing to everyone's individual position and somehow determining who deserves more and who deserves less? Because if that's the case, burn the whole place down. I can't.
Were you a teacher?
So I was an SAT tutor for almost 20 years. So I graduated from Cal, and I had been tutoring. My wife and I were both tutors at UC Berkeley, and the week I left, I started tutoring privately, and that's all I did since I was 22.
So do you do it now? Ladies and gentlemen, we may have a tutor here.
I'm a dude who talks trash in a closet.
Right, okay.
Like, look at that.
All right, okay. I suck at math, so anything would help me.
I'll tell you what, if there are any people in the community, in the DCR community, I do have an online, it's a baller program. It's mtuclass.com, and you can go check it out. It's SAT math, but it's this epic program. I'll give it to you for free. Anybody in Dry Creek Ranch, any of your kids can have it. So just get a hold of me. I'll give you a coupon code that'll give you a free subscription. It's pretty awesome. Anyway, so here we are.
I'm trying to get
my gosh, look at you.
I know.
All right.
I'm sorry. I'm really prepared.
You have the receipts. I love the receipts. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
So May 4th.
Okay,
a
so
meeting on May 4th.
They asked me to a meeting, me by myself.
And when you say they, who's they?
Oh, sorry. Boise Hunter asked me to go to the clubhouse with Kristen and have a meeting by myself. No other social committee members were there. No Gina, no Tina. They wanted me by myself. Not going to happen. I'm not the kind of person. I've been in way too many unions. I used to be in law enforcement. I don't show up anywhere by myself, especially at a meeting where I feel it's already going to be antagonistic because I feel we are not going to come to a good conclusion on this. So, and it's not the Trish show. This isn't the Trish show. I mean, there are other members on this committee that I obviously spoke to about what we were doing, and they were all on board. So, unfortunately, Gina couldn't come, but Tina could come. And I love me some Tina. So, Tina, you're going to have to apologize. I apologize to you while I do your a horrible impression of you, because that's what it's going to be. So, I have the paper they gave me. Paper they gave me. So, immediately, I'm in there, Roddy Piper, ready to hit you with the chair. Tina comes in. She works for a nonprofit. And I don't know if they were expecting her, but she came in anyways because, of course, you need two people.
Hang on a sec. Before we do this, I really have been waiting for a great opportunity to do exactly what I'm about to do, which is, come on now, Matt. God, let's go red. All right, so you go to the May 4th meeting.
What's that? That looks exciting. I don't even know what that is.
No, I turned the lights red.
Well, this is legit in here, people. I just want to tell everybody, he's got lighting, he has sound.
So
sorry.
Here we go. So you go to the meeting.
It is ominous.
It is ominous.
So we go to the meeting. Tina and I show up at the meeting, and there it is, Kristen and Steven, who, by the way, I never met before. And I'm like, oh, you're Steven. Okay, you're Steven. So Kristen and Steven. And they proceed to hand me this piece of paper that I have here. And first of all, in bold is you're doing a great job. Thank you. We appreciate that.
Start out with a compliment.
Always good, right?
A classic
positive
strategy.
Reinforcement,
right.
Little negative, and then a positive. We all know, we've all been there, right? I'm a dog trainer. I get the flow.
There you go.
So they said that the committee, I'm going to read it because it's...
I can't handle these red lights. I thought it was funny. It's driving me crazy.
Is it really? It doesn't really bother me.
Do you like it?
I don't really... It's your studio. It's your moment. It actually doesn't bother me. I don't really care.
Okay, go.
Okay, so this is what they handed us. So the committee was established last fall, and I'm going to paraphrase it, with little to no direction from Stephen, and which is a fault of his own. He acknowledges it, and not your fault, not Kristen, not Debbie's, because or any of the other sponsors, but his own fault. And I was like, well, at least you're acknowledging it. Good for you, right?
Good for you, sir.
Yeah, good job.
God.
And so Kristen and himself probably saw things differently in terms how the HOA events are done. And I can tell you that Kristen was sitting in the corner, and being a dog trainer and being, working with exotic animals, I know behavior. And her lips were tight. Her eyes were tight. She was not a happy camper. So they proceed to do this. What else does it say?
I was just looking if it actually said even Kristen and myself probably saw SAT tutor, right? So it should be even Kristen and I, not myself. It's fine. Keep going.
Don't even look at my notes because it's going to be graded in an F.
This is what they handed you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Immediately when we sat down. As you can see, I'm like notes like crazy because, of course, Tina didn't do notes because she's just like, okay, love Tina, right? Not me. I'm like, red pen. So up until this June flyer, I've been pleased with everything. So they were pleased. But then they had a problem. And these were the reasons. Wasn't equitable for the 10 agents. And where were the funds going? Which made me annoyed because what am I having all these budget meetings for if you guys aren't paying attention to what I'm telling you? I know where the funds are going. I even gave you a budget. So I even told that to him. And then he said, we didn't know the proper process. It goes on. It was never established. But moving forward, I believe we can create an event process that works for our community. So this is where it gets to the meat of the thing. And then I'll get into Tina, my bad impression of Tina in a minute. Okay, so the social committee is created by and for the benefit of the HOA. As such, the social committee is not a sponsored entity other than by the HOA, who is the developer and which the developer manages. The $5,000 budget should be enough to cover 5 to 8 events per year, but if there's a need for more money, it can be added to the HOA budget or requested from the developer. And we'll get into that. Ultimately, Kristen needs to oversee the budget and events, but the social committee comes up with the events, markets the events, organizes the events, and determines the events. And so it's no longer ours. So that is what really stuck in my craw that day. So then I said to him, so is it your money, Boise Hunter money, or is it our money? And he goes, no, it's your money from your funds. And I go, well, then good. We can do whatever we want with our money. And he said, well, no, you can't. And I was like, okay. And I said, so you're in charge of everything. And they're pretty much, so if they don't like it, you can't do it. So it's no longer the community events that got started by the Frames and the Foxes. It is now Boise Hunter, I guess the corporation events. So then they proceeded to say to me that, and then they started, and I said, is this, and so then, of course, I said, is this because it's Debbie, or is it because it's just a real estate agent? And they were pretty quick to say, oh, no, it's not Debbie. And again, Debbie has her own story. I don't know what it is, but Debbie has her own story. And so I was just like, but I know she did work for them at a time. So is there history? I have no idea, but it's not my business. So they said, oh, no, lots of real estate agents complained. And I said, I find that hard to believe that in the 20 minutes I posted it, you got 10 people to call you up and complain about it. I said, so I'm not being very nice. And
No, but you're being honest.
I'm being very, very blunt. I am the hammer after all. And then I said,
look, if people trying to be really nice lead to some of the greatest problems on a community level because they're afraid to just call it like it is, which is, hey, look, you can't tell me that in between 9 and 9:20 p.m. on a Sunday night, 10 people simultaneously called you. That's just...
I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it. And I called him on it. And he didn't say anything to me. I don't think he was expecting such.
So at this point, then it sounds like this was the first moment when you realize, like, oh, this was a community-based thing. And now they have usurped it. Mm-hmm. They have taken it over. This is an HOA run for the HOA, by the HOA, and the HOA is distinctly owned by BHH.
By Boise Hunter, correct.
So that's when you first realized.
That's when I was like, light bulb.
This is an extension of your marketing, which is why Steven's there.
Exactly. And then they said to me and Tina, they said, because don't forget Tina's in this, and they said, if it's not a Boise Hunter event, if it's not an HOA event, where there's no HOA funds used, then you can do whatever you want and have whatever sponsors you want. So then I said, how much was the pizza truck? So they gave me a figure, which was a substantial figure. It was $1,500. And I said, I'll get that for you tomorrow, and I'll take it all back. And they're like, whoa, no. And I'm like, you just told me that if I can give you, we don't use anything from you. I'm not using the clubhouse except for the bathroom, and that's outside. So I can take it all back. No. And they were just so flabbergasted that I would even suggest it. And then they brought up like special insurance, as if they were going to get special insurance for the water slide I booked. Come on, please. So I was just like, you just literally said that. So then now they wouldn't even bother looking at me after that. So then Tina, God love Tina. Here comes Tina. Here's the impression of Tina. Sorry, Tina. She's like, well, I work for a nonprofit and we use sponsors all the time. And so then of course they directed it to Tina because Tina's the nice one. God bless her. I don't know how she does it. So she's just like, and sponsors are great. And so now, everyone gets a piece, right? And everyone's happy. I just think it's best for the community. And they're like, well, Boise Hunter just doesn't want sponsors, and we didn't feel it was equitable. And then she's just like, but isn't it wonderful? Like now you can sponsor, and then the next event someone else can sponsor, and then the next event someone else can sponsor, and then we're creating a buzz, and then everyone's excited and happy. And I'm like, oh my. I'm like, that's why I call her Mary Poppins with a gun, because she totally disarmed them. Like she was like, spoonful of sugar, and then poof, right? So, well, I'm hitting him with the chair. She's like spoonfulling of sugar them, right? I love her. And so they were just like, so it went on like that for a while. And here's me like, writing things down while Tina's like disarming them. And I'm just like, we don't agree with you. So both Tina and I came to the conclusion at the same time, well, we don't agree with you. And however, in the future, we will abide by your rules. If you don't want sponsors in the future, we will abide by your rules. However, I am adamant. It's, the line has been drawn for me. This event will have sponsors. I've already paid for it. I've given my word. I don't go back on my word. And you shouldn't either if you have any integrity, I told him. You shouldn't either. If you want to have integrity, you don't go back on your word. It's already out there. And so he agreed that this event and this event only. So Tina and I were like, okay, perfect. So then I'm driving her home in my golf cart like everybody else is. And I look at her and I go, Tina, tell me what you got from that meeting, just so we're on the same page. I'm not going to tell you what I have. I want you to tell me what you got from that. And she said, I got that we could have sponsors, but going forward, we couldn't. And she's like, it's a missed opportunity, the whole thing. But I said, perfect, that's what I got from it. So what we got both from it is that sponsors would go forward. But it didn't end there. Dun, dun, dun. So while I'm fighting for the community and the fact that you don't own us, do you know what I'm saying? We pay you. You don't own us. This is our community, right? I might even cry because I'm that passionate about it. You know, I mean, you see the kids come together, the families come together. This is ours. And damn it, I want it back, right? I don't want it from them. So I'm going to get to that in a minute. So anyways, do you need to interrupt because I'm a talking fool?
You're the best. Here are some tissues.
I'm going to cry in a minute. I'm this passionate about it. And Tina is too. And Gina is too. It's just I'm a little louder, you know. So we all know that. Sorry.
Listen, you need someone to...
You need the guy with the chair.
You need somebody to speak. I mean,
you need Mary Poppins and you need the guy with the chair. We made a great team. So Tina then... so I drive her home. And so then what I find out is that I'm going along as planned. I resend the flyer and say to Kristen, per our conversation, this is what we agreed upon. I resend the exact same flyer and I hear nothing. Because you know how she sends it out in her mass email that we're not allowed to have? Whatever. Alan Dade, I loved when he said that. He was just like, look it, man. God, that guy's great. Anyways, so...
yeah, because she sends out this mass email that we somehow can't participate in.
No, she even sends it back to me and says it's not an HOA event, and then she has problems with it because it could be problems. It's just a whole mess. So you're not allowed to do it. So anyways, we send it to her. She never gets back to me on it. And then I find out that Steven is on the Facebook page. And I was like, no. That's how we found out about everything. As soon as he's on the Facebook page. So Brent decided at that point that he was going to remove him from the Facebook page.
You guys removed Steven?
Yeah. Brent did on the suggestion, not just me, but on many. It wasn't helping the community at that point. It was hindering us. So, good job for Brent. That's some chutzpah right there. That's moxie, baby.
It's almost like the residents of Dry Creek are unionizing to fight.
Right? But that's some moxie. I'm just going to take a drink.
You're out of our communication group. Get out of here. You can't hear what we're saying.
And Brent doesn't want the drama. Come on. The guy just runs a Facebook page. He's like, I don't want to deal with this.
You know they have moles somewhere.
Of course. Who doesn't?
Anyway, let's keep going.
Okay, so then I find out because, hold on, I got a cough.
I love that you guys kicked him out. You're like, look, I understand you might have a mole, but symbolically, you're out.
You're not helping us. You're not helping us being on the page. In fact, it made people less, likely to say what they felt because of, retribution or whatever it is from Boise Hunter, right? You feel uncomfortable. And he wasn't really necessary on the page. If he has a quarterly report, he could do what everybody else does, and he can send it to our mayor, Brent, and Brent then can send it to us, right? So then it got worse because here I'm thinking we're on the same page with sponsors. And then I get a call from Debbie Pruitt because Honey Badger don't care. And she said they asked her to return the money that she had given me. Now you have to understand Debbie is her own entity. Mm-hmm. So if she wants to give me a chunk of cash, she could just give it to me. Right. And so I already had it. She Venmoed it to me that night that she said she'd give it to me. And I got the big chunk of cash. Thank you, Debbie. And I had already put it and was like, I'm going to go to this. I'm going to go to this. I'm going to go to this. But I still need about, another $1,500. Right. So then the other sponsors who are corporations have to go through the HOA. So and I don't know why, but they have to send their check to the HOA and the HOA would send it to me. I didn't understand it. I still don't. But then again, I'm not a corporation. And I don't hold them at fault because they just have to abide by their rules. So then they call Debbie Pruitt up. And I'm not privy to that conversation. But they try to get her to return the money, of which Honey Badger said no.
Okay, so they're trying to get her to take her money. When you say return the money, they're like, listen, we're going to give you this money back. You can't be a sponsor.
They wanted me to give Debbie the movie back. Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then Boise Hunter would then give me the money Debbie Pruitt did. So my question to Boise Hunter at this meeting was, okay, so what if we actually did give the money back? Are you going to be raising our HOA fees to cover all these events that we have planned that we could have paid for by sponsors? Kind of like how we asked, are they going to raise the HOA fees for the equestrian center for someone who wants to clean it or whatever it is?
Right.
Are you going to be raising our HOA fees? Oh, no. Like, I buy that. Anyways, so Debbie Pruitt was told to give back the money, and which she responded, no. So I find out they're doing this to every single one of the sponsors behind my back, not telling me, leaving me holding the bag for all this money. And
because
one of
they're
them,
giving it back to all of them.
yes, and they're not accepting it. So Debbie Pruitt said no. So I had Debbie's money. But all the other sponsors, who again, it's not their fault, could not give money. But I didn't know that because Boise Hunter didn't tell me. So one of my sponsors was cash, and cash only on the day of. And I had already spent Debbie's money on my credit card, paying off everything else. So now I'm left holding the bag for cash on the day of. And so I said, are you guys going to be there to pay this guy? No response. So
this is a vendor. I think you said
yeah,
sponsor.
a vendor. It was the
so
thinking
one
taco
vendor,
guy. Yeah, vendor.
Cash only, day of.
Yes, one of the
Okay.
food trucks, small
Sure,
guy,
sure.
cash only. He did take Venmo, but I was not putting it on my credit card.
No,
after,
either way. He just needed to be paid that
day. They had, Boise Hunter had paid for the pizza truck. Thank you very much. I appreciated that. But they didn't pay for the shaved ice, they didn't pay for the taco truck, and they didn't pay for the water slide. So that was left for me to pay, and it was a good chunk of change. Now, Debbie's took care of part of it, but certainly not all of it. And so when I found out that they were going behind my back and telling the sponsors not to pay them, I was livid. Because here I am left holding the bag. And where are your morals? I mean, you told me and Tina to our faces that this would be the way to go, that they would have sponsors for this event and this event only. And they chose not to, leaving me holding the bag. And so then when I told Kristen, I said, Kristen, I owe this person cash. Her response was, what kind of vendor only uses cash? The kind that doesn't want to pay for Square, and the kind that doesn't want to pay for a gateway, and the little guy in the neighborhood. Right. It just sounded like Joe Biden. They're the little guy in the neighborhood who's doing his thing.
Yeah, when with my tutoring company, I didn't accept credit cards.
No, it's too
expensive.
expensive.
You can Venmo me, you can pay me a check. I didn't really like cash just because it's too hard to account for. But again, I understand. I'm very sympathetic to that.
It's a small business, and he wanted it up front, and I don't blame him. Right? It's expensive. So I told her that.
And he doesn't want to be holding the bag for 2 months. I mean, when you're dealing with vendors, when you're dealing with organizations, and they're like, okay, you're going to show up, you're going to make these tacos, you're going to be out $2,000. We'll catch you up later. It's like, later when?
Yeah, but it wasn't him holding the bag. It was me.
Well, I know. That's what I'm saying. From his standpoint, he's like, listen, I don't take 2-month credits.
No.
Like, you pay me today.
You pay me now.
I paid for the chicken. I paid for the beef. I
Services
worked
rendered.
this. Services rendered. You're paying me today.
Yes. So they were behind my back doing all this. I talked to the sponsors, the other two sponsors, and they said, well, there's nothing we can do because we're, corporate has to go through certain things. And I'm like, well, now what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Debbie, of course, was like, I can give you more money. And I'm like, look at Debbie. I already took a huge chunk of money from Debbie. I don't really feel comfortable having you do it, right? And so I just went out and got more sponsors, different sponsors, even though I never told Boise Hunter either. And I just said, I'm good. I already took care of it. I mean, they did pay for the pizza truck, but that was the beginning of the downfall. It was the beginning of the massive oversight. It was the beginning of me going, wow, I don't know what kind of morals and values that they have. And it was the beginning of us realizing that they're not doing this because, I'll be honest, from my opinion, I didn't feel like they cared about the community. They were doing it to sell houses. And that's when it went bad. That's when it started to go bad.
Well, I can imagine because, look, it's like we fly a lot of kites on our street. Right, because we have the open kind of construction area at the end of the street, and we have the soccer field right next door, the whole thing, right? So windy days, you go out and fly kites with little kids, but it would literally be like they say, "Hey, do you want to start a Dry Creek Ranch kite club?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, that sounds awesome." They're like, we'll even sponsor some kites so you guys can get really cool kites. You're like, you would? That sounds great. And then literally 3 months later, I'm getting angry text messages because I'm, flying the wrong kite or something. And then they're like, this kite club is owned by Boise Hunter Homes. Like, that's it. Like, wait a minute. I was flying these kites well before, and you guys came to me to help organize this kite club, and now I'm like working for you for free?
Exactly. And it was, and I mean, and I didn't mind doing everything they asked me to because it was for the good of community. And I'll be honest, a lot of people do some real nice things here. They go to Mexico, they build houses. Yeah, I don't. They go like they help learn kids how to teach basketball. Yeah, not me. I don't do a lot of that stuff, but this was one thing I was passionate about. And another thing that they didn't like was they didn't want any signage up of anyone. So even if we took the money, they were like, so at the meeting they said, all right, we'll do sponsors, but they can't have signage. And I'm like, no, man. So you know what? I did it anyways because I gave my word. So I took the money and I put the signs up. Now, granted, I didn't do huge signs because I'm not a millionaire. So I did, I put the signs up what I could. And I let everybody know on the Facebook page that this is who was sponsoring. This is who the money is. And you know what? This is the way it's got. I mean, this is it. So I was just very upset by it. And so we're past that. But time's moved on from that. But that was, he even mentioned it at the meeting. If you caught it, if you look at your thing again, your video again, which I don't know why you would, but if you looked at it again, in the HOA meeting, when everybody brought up the social committee, and my husband, was just like, you disbanded them, which of course I was like, yeah. So he said, oh, it got bad with the sponsorships. He mentioned it. You got to you listen to it again. He mentioned it.
I remember that. No, I remember that.
That's when it got bad. So that's when the oversight really happened. And so, yeah, I mean, I wrote it all down because I wanted to make sure that I had it. But Tina was in the meeting, too. I didn't appreciate them trying to get me alone. I didn't appreciate that at all. I mean, thank God Tina was there. God love her again, Mary Poppins. Thank God she was there. But I didn't appreciate them telling us one thing and then doing another. Didn't appreciate them going behind my back, sticking me with a bill. And I didn't appreciate the lack of integrity overall, where they, we were told one thing by their management. Their management messed up. Stand by your word. That's all you got to do. Stand by your word this one time, and we could have gone on happily. But you didn't stand by your word. And then you didn't let me. And so, again, I just did it anyways because it's not for you, Boise Hunter. It's for the community. And that's just the way it is.
This is such a tough story to hear because obviously you guys had committed your life before, or at least committed some portion of your time and your energies to enriching this community before Boise Hunter came to you. And then once they did, they asked more of you. They treated you worse. They made it this thankless endeavor. You're like, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. We were flying kites before.
Exactly.
What are you doing here? Right? Mm-hmm. And why are you doing this? And then they're like,
oh,
I'll tell you why we're doing this. We're doing this because we need a marketing
extension. They
extension.
saw something valuable and they wanted it. I have no doubt in my mind now. That's, my opinion, but it's no doubt. They saw something and they wanted it. And they never showed up. They even took pictures at some of these. Some of these, they even took pictures. I did a middle school night to get the awkward teenagers out of their house. Which, by the way, love your kids, never do it again. I'll be honest. Where's my phone? Nobody gets their phone, okay?
Yeah,
Phone's in the box. But they showed up for that, right? They showed up to take pictures for that, like for 5 minutes, and then they left. They didn't show up at the summer kickoff. They never showed up at the Easter egg hunt. They just don't show, which I'm okay with it, but don't give me massive oversight when it wasn't yours to begin with.
You know what's interesting? So a couple things. So first off, the emphasis that you had with look, I don't go to Mexico to build houses. Yeah, I don't do whatever. Look, neither do I. And I was working in college admissions forever, and people would always want to talk about I went to Mexico and built this house. And nothing against people that go to build houses, but the question,
God bless.
Yeah, it's great. The question that I've always asked those students is there are people that need help here too, right? There are issues probably on your street. I don't know where these students live, but it's I bet you're no farther than 10 houses away from somebody that could really use help. And again, the Mexico trip is a fantastic and noble endeavor. But like you do, you try to improve your immediate community. And I try to do that as best as I can too, just because.
Yeah, this is great.
Thank you. Shout out WA Construction, by the way. So my
this
neighbor,
is amazing in here.
Mike Whitney, and I put out this whole studio together in 3 weeks. He was a monster. I'll put his contact up at the end of the episode, but he's great. He's done a ton of stuff around my house and my neighbor's house. He recently moved from California, super skilled. But again, the point of this is not I called it the ranch for a reason because look, we collectively as a community need a better way to communicate. because there's, if you leave everything that happened at the HOA meeting just there, then what, we're left to like Facebook and a he said, she said.
Exactly.
And that's just not great. And then people get more frustrated. And if Steven called me up and was like, hey, you know, I'd like to come in and whatever.
Tell my side.
Hey,
exactly.
That's totally fine. But my second point is, you know, they could have done this better. They could have come to you and said like, hey, Trish, here's the deal. We're going to be totally upfront with you. You're awesome. Tina's awesome. Gina's awesome. This whole thing is awesome. And we want to share this awesomeness with prospective buyers, right? We want prospective buyers to know the life that you guys are living. We want to add to that. What we would ask is that we're allowed to kind of showcase some of this stuff, but you do you. Keep doing you. Let's talk a little bit about sponsors because, you know, Boise Hunter has relationships with some vendors and other companies in the area already. So we have to be sensitive to that. And we don't want to have sponsors that, you know, create conflict within the community, right? So let's talk about that. But we want you to keep running. Like I just want to shoot a little steroid into your arm, like a little infusion of HOA and like, let's go. They could have said that.
They could have, but it was all sponsors. All sponsors. Even the ones they gave me, it was all sponsors. And I'm like, but you gave me those. So it was all sponsors. And I have to say, for me to do this, again, back to the houses in Mexico, I do this because there's some one lonely little kid that moved in from California, Washington, Oregon, whatever, pick a state. And he wants friends, right? And I think about that and I get teary thinking about it because I want to give that kid the opportunity to get friends.
Right.
I want to give that retired couple that moved here the opportunity to have a social, life, like to go out and do things. Right. I want to connect people. It's like, that's my jam. Like, I love doing it. Like, I love doing it. It's a passion for me. And to be honest, after working in theater and after working at zoos and law enforcement, it's not that hard for me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and when my husband sits and watches TV at night, I'm looking at food trucks. I'm like, like I just got a gelato truck. Come on, guys. And that's the one thing I will say on the sidebar about the food trucks. Please come out and support the food trucks because they are your local businesses and there's a minimum to be met. And I really would love everyone to come out because it makes it easier. If you come out and support them, then more of them will contact me and then we get more things here. So I ask everyone to support the food truck. But I look at, like, I just booked something last night for the community because I'm going to have a private party with all my friends and he's going to ho, ho, ho his way down the road. So, but I do this because I want these kids and everyone to grow up and what we wanted, you know, what we had, go out late at night, play, have fun, meet people. And be safe and happy. And I can do that. And I really do love it. I want the community to know I really do love it. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of setup. It's a lot of work, but I love it. And I do it because I know that you guys appreciate it and you love it too. That's why I do it.
I mean, I can't say thank you enough. I mean, because...
But I don't do it for that. I do it because I see that little kid and he meets his friend and he runs out and he goes, Mom, I made a friend. And they're like, what's his name? I don't know. But, you know, he made that friend and he'll see him again. And then when the awkward teenagers get out of their rooms from their video games, they'll have made friends too. Right. And then the adults will make friends and we'll all have barbecues. I mean, people do their own little things. I can't tell you. Like the Berries, Mike Berry and Kristen Berry, you don't know them? Do you know them in phase one?
I don't.
Oh, my God. Get to know them. Amazing people. I mean, they do so much stuff for so many people without any fanfare. And it's just, there's so many people like them. They're amazing. Mary Irby, I can go on and on with all the amazing people that, not so much, I don't know, phase 3 is, or what phase are this? What phase is this?
What, when you say this, you mean
like the phase you're in, like where we're sitting?
I don't know what phase
I don't know either.
I think where I live was phase 7.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
All I know is that there's everybody in every phase that does amazing things that I probably don't know because there's so many of us now.
They're great.
But I love doing what I can, and I'm sure I can speak for Tina and Gina and say they love doing it too.
Yeah, when we, on 4th of July, okay, so we...
Yeah, I wasn't there for that.
You missed out, let me tell you.
I did.
It
I went
was
to the
a
dog
rager.
park. I'm sorry.
On 4th of July, there's a green space near my house, and that's where we set up.
I see that thing, yeah.
Right. So that's where we set up the mass,
Yeah.
the mass bounce houses and stuff, the obstacle courses, and they came the day before. And of course, on July 3rd, everyone's barbecuing like crazy. We get the pig going around like 7 o'clock.
I got to see this pig next year.
Oh, it was
I
great.
want the pig.
We, we have a toast to the pig because, what, the pig did not want to be my dinner, and I appreciate the pig. So we do a toast to the pig, and we're bonfiring, and people are coming over to jump on the bounce houses and go on the obstacle courses, and they're like, hey, can we come by tomorrow? And we were like, yeah, sure, maybe bring a salad or something. Like, we're all contributing.
Great.
And we weren't asking money because funny that they say, hey, the $5,000 should fund 5 to 8 events a year. It's like, okay, do you have any idea how much events cost? Like, we were out thousands of dollars.
Expensive.
I mean, the pig alone was like $600 for charcoal and the actual pig and some other stuff. Like, you're not getting out of any real event for anything under $2,000. So anyway, but the point is, there were kids coming over that we met that live like around the corner. And again, on my street, we have tons of kids, and all of a sudden they were playing together. And then, one group, these 10, 11-year-olds, I was like, hey, where's your dad? And this kid's like, oh, my dad's at home. I'm like, give me your dad's phone number right now. What's your dad's name? Kid's like, oh, Robert. So I call Robert. I was like, Robert, you have 2 minutes to get down here and eat some pig and hang out. And then Robert comes
That's
down
awesome.
and his wife comes down, and they're sitting with us. And it's so beautiful to see that community, because I don't know where you guys moved from. I think we actually were kind of in the same neck of the woods in
Sonoma
California.
County.
Right. So we were living in Contra Costa.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Ooh.
Right. It's
I
pretty
can see why
dicey.
you moved.
Oh my, you have. That's a different conversation. But there was such a transactional experience living there, where my wife and I moved in to our little spot in Danville. I think I was 29 and she was 28. Okay, I was just about to turn 30. We had a little baby, our oldest, and we moved in, and we were the youngest people there. And then there was only one other young guy who moved into the street after us. This guy Mark, he was our neighbor, and I think he was 27 when he moved in. After that, everyone moving in was like 35 or 40 or older, and it was this very clear transaction where people were not interested in being neighborly. They weren't interested in, barbecuing together. They were interested in getting to the school district, being in a relatively safe area. Danville at the time was like the safest town in California since.
I don't know now.
Yeah, no. I mean, like just last week, this guy is shopping in this normal little shopping center, gets followed out by 4 guys, broad daylight on a Saturday, at gunpoint. They rob him, pistol whip him, fire into the air, and take off. This is real. They steal his wallet, they steal his watch. It's like, okay, Saturday in the middle of Danville,
That's crazy.
dudes are firing guns. There was a gunfight like 2 months ago. It's bonkers there, right? And of course, we got out. We saw the writing on the wall. We're like, things are turning dark.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it was transactional. Like, people would move in. They didn't want community. They were like, look, I wanted to get this investment in this house. I wanted my kid to go to this school. I want to go to my job 12 hours a day, and I want to die in 30 years.
Exactly.
And moving here, it was so clear. It was like, oh, people are not about that life. Like, I've been shocked at how successful people are and how the kind of horsepower people have. But it's obvious once you think about it. It's like, well, those were the people that were willing to get up and move and seek greener pastures. The people who didn't have that horsepower or that success or that autonomy did not. And so it's wonderful to see that. But even though these are very successful, competent, capable people, they're also very community people. And that's the thing that's like, damn it, man, this is amazing.
I mean, and we all moved here for that. Like the Foxes, they all led the way. Their Thanksgiving, they all led the way. And we all saw that and we all wanted it. And I can't tell you how many emails and texts or Facebook messages I get from people that are like, oh, I can't wait to join the Easter egg hunt. Thank you so much for doing this. And I'm like, this is awesome, because you look at their profile, of course, because we all do. And you're just like, oh, look, they have little kids. And how come? And then I'm like, oh, do they have a teenager? So my son can get out of the house. And love you. And so.
Get out.
Yeah, stuff with I'll have to admit, virtual reality is pretty fun. But
what aspect of it? You talking video games?
Virtual reality video games.
Yeah.
I just bought one.
Oh,
for
you mean
myself.
like an actual headset?
Yeah, he bought one because he has a shaved ice
yeah.
business, so he bought one, and I can't help but say I'm kind of enjoying it, like swimming with the dolphins. It's pretty awesome.
How do you not get motion sick when you do that?
I'm trying to work through it because I'm literally swimming with orcas, and then the great white shark attacks me, and I'm thinking, and it's really scary, but I digress. To the kids with the video games, you too will get out in the world. So anyways, but we wanted that. We wanted that, right? And
Right.
I can't tell you how many people say, I can't wait to move in because of that. Now, Tina and Gina may get that, but I'm more the name because I post things, right? So people always text me or reach out to me, and I want to give that to them. We want to give that to them. So, it just kind of fell apart at sponsorship. But, we're soldiering on, right? We soldiered on, right? So what came after that? No, we didn't do much in the summer because we had such a bad experience with that. But I did do a hat making class, which...
I did see that.
Okay, that's another thing. So I sent Kristen an email, and she's completely overworked, right? Boise Hunter's got to go in here, going there, going there. She's going everywhere. So I sent her an email, and I said, look, there's a hat making class that we did in phase 1 the first year I moved in. It was hugely popular, and people have asked me. This isn't me just saying, let's do a hat making class, like little rascals. Let's put on a show, so we do. People have said, hey, do you remember that? We did that the first year. Let's do it again. So I said, sure, I'll get that for you. Immediately reached out to the vendor. The vendor said, awesome, let's do it. So I told Kristen I wanted the clubhouse. And she said, okay, but what's the event for? And then I said, it's for the hat making class. And that was the end of the transaction between her and I. That was the end of the conversation. She said she'd put it in the reservation system. Come to find out, she didn't put it in the reservation system. So another member of the community had now booked the class. And I didn't know until they reached out to me. Had now booked the clubhouse, excuse me. So now we have a conflict. And I'm told the gentleman who's extremely nice. And I was just like, look, I can't rebook this. I have a vendor coming with all of her materials. I put this out to the thing. So then I said, Kristen, what happened? What happened? I told you this. She goes, oh, I was going to talk to you about that. Well, okay, but you didn't. So she goes, well, I don't feel it's an HOA event. So you get to decide now what I consider a social event for the community. I don't know all these people that came, so I'm not going to have them at my house with a whole vendor. I'm using the community clubhouse for a community event. Yes, everybody paid for their own stuff, but how is that different than anything else where people pay for stuff?
Right, that if Matt rents it or reserves it and I have the vendor come. Exactly.
And so she was just like, nope, you're going to have to reschedule. And it wasn't just that she said it, she was rude. I'm going to tell you, if she's listening to this, she was rude. She's just like, she was rude about the whole thing. She goes, well, I don't think it's an event. I think it's your private event. And I'm like, look, I'm sorry that, you're overworked. And then she's like, I'm not overworked. Okay, well, maybe we're just a little bad at her job. I don't know, but you dropped the ball. And so I am not rescheduling. Well, I'll call the vendor. No, Mom, you're not going to call my vendor, okay? I'm just going to go to the clubhouse, and you're the one that's going to have to eat this on this. So then what did she do? She ate it, but then she called the other person who rented it and blamed it all on me. How? Come on. Own your mistakes. That's all we can do. Don't we teach our children to own our mistakes? That, yeah, it sucks, but own your mistakes. So she blamed it all on me. And I'm like, whatever. So I had the hat event. It was great. But at the same time, the pettiness continues, right? The pettiness continues. Soccer fields. Okay, so the green space for the soccer field. I told her, I said, I'd love to use our funds to buy nets. She said, no. Boise Hunter doesn't do that. We don't do that stuff. No one does that because of all the wear and tear. And I said, okay, well, you know what? How about this? Don't worry about it. My husband and I will be buying the soccer nets for the field.
Wait.
2 weeks later, they gave you soccer nets.
Okay, back up. I didn't. You just sprung.
Sorry,
okay.
I talk fast.
You're good. So hat making, she offers to call the vendor and cancel.
Yeah, like
you
my mom.
Say no. So then she calls the other dude who had reserved it and says, sorry, you can't come. Trish is a poo-poo head. It's her fault.
Pretty
or
much.
Whatever. And then we jump straight to the soccer field. So the soccer field gets made. They're super excited about it. They did not have...
It was just a green space.
They didn't have expectation
have a plan.
of making it a proper soccer field.
No.
So this whole song and dance Stephen had at the HOA meeting about how it's
complete
regulation
lie.
size. We're super happy about it. Come and play. They put that sign that says come and play.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't ever have expectation of actually making it a formal soccer field with nets.
Not at all. That was me. That was me and my husband. We asked them for it, and they said no. Well, they didn't say no. I'll take that back. She said, well, we never do that. We don't like to do that. People people break those things. Kids break those things. And I
Aren't
said,
they made out of steel?
I don't know. So I sent her ones.
Really?
Well, I sent her ones that weren't the professional ones, but just ones that we could, that were a decent size, but that were in our budget, right? And so I sent her ones that were in her budget that you could fold up and pack down and put away. And I mean, obviously the ones they got were much nicer. I'll give them credit for that. But she immediately was like, no, we don't normally do that. So then I said, hey, don't worry about it. My husband and I are going to give this to the community because our son plays soccer. We know a lot of other people that play soccer, and you can't really have a football field there and whatever. And when our annual dodgeball, like we do a dodgeball tournament on Thanksgiving, hopefully you'll come this year. And
Hey, you couldn't stop me.
right, you can dodge a wrench, but you can't dodge a ball. So
Is it necessary that I drink my own urine?
urine. I think we're taking out of
Oh
this
my
that I watch
God.
way too much TV.
Oh my God. But we watch the same trash TV.
so
yes.
we're on the
Trish,
same
yes.
wavelength. So then I heard, she goes, well, let me check. And I said, well, don't worry about checking. We're going to do it. So then like a couple of weeks later, we're like, welcome to the new soccer field that Boise Hunter has provided for you. And we're like, okay, all right, whatever. And it's just something that I was just like, wow, look at that. And I'm like, okay, I'm glad you upgraded. Good for you for upgrading. I mean, maybe not make it a swamp next time with your watering cycle and watering it 24 hours. They did, someone told me. But I'm just like...
no, they absolutely... I watched one of my neighbors go
ridiculous.
out and just manually turn off
Yes,
the
I heard
sprinklers
about
after
that.
24 hours because I was like, they didn't stop. And I mean from like 5 p.m. until like 2 days later, they were still going. And finally in the morning, he walked out and just opened the boxes and killed them.
Yeah.
It's like, you're literally just...
It's a swamp. How could anyone play? So I appreciate that they got the soccer field, but however, come on, let's be honest and just say, hey, the social committee had a great idea and we ran with it. But to me, that was just sort of petty, or maybe I'm being petty. I don't know, but I'm just sort of like, God, guys, be your own people. And I'll be honest, my husband was more angry than I was because he's like, what the heck? He goes, we were going to do that. And I don't mind that they did it, but at least don't act like you have these major, wonderful ideas when you don't really do anything like that.
You know what's... Again, I like to always assume the most charitable interpretation of people's actions. Because, again, I think the value of assuming malicious intent is not even zero. It's negative. Like, there's no value in assuming somebody was terrible, right? And... look, there are so many basic ways that if the marketing arm of Boise Hunter wanted to tap into what the community has to offer, they could do that. Like, there could be this wonderful marriage between, like Steven and his team and the actual residents. There could be like wonderful planning. I'm sure they could contract with a photographer and of course with everyone's consent.
Yes.
It's like, hey guys, listen, we want to sponsor a tri-tip cook-off, right? And everybody who enters will give you $50 for tri-tip.
Yeah.
And then anybody who wants to, and then take pictures of that. And it could be this beautiful, we just want to capture what you guys are doing. But instead, it almost feels like we're like in a fish tank. And they're just observing us and snapping shots of us in the best possible light for them. But you're not seeing that, where the soccer field's a swamp, right?
Yeah,
They're using it as this marketing arm. And it's like, look, that's not even necessarily bad that people see how great this place is. I mean, I tell anybody who will listen from back home and even people here, right? I love it here. This is the best life I've ever lived.
We love it in spite of them, not because of them.
Right. And it doesn't...
Which is sad.
It doesn't have to be that way.
No. I mean, we don't have to... The retention pond, which is what it was. So across from the barn, there was no trail there. They put a trail there because phase 1 and phase 2, or whatever I don't even know, complained that we didn't have trails. They say signs that have trails, but they put the trail there because we complained. Otherwise, it was just a big old pond. And it still is with the trail. And mosquitoes.
The Shrek pond.
It is the Shrek pond. See the donkey coming out soon.
Oh my gosh! And Steven's response with regard to the bond, he's like, it's one Stevens or whatever he said, kick away from.
Oh, that was the barn.
Down.
Please, that barn. I mean, honestly, the barn is awesome.
Like, it's very cool to see, but that's a really terrifying thing to think.
It. I lived in a historical home. I think I lived in it was like 120 years old or something like that in Petaluma. But you fixed it, and you fixed it. If you're going to do it and the historical society tells you to, you fix it historically.
Right.
And it can be done. It's just going to cost money. And the homeless house right next to it, that thing's got to go. You know, the boarded up house, I call it the homeless house. I called that to his face. I go, look it. I had those homes. They're called the homeless house. Okay. Right. And they're horrible. And he goes, it's historical. I'm like, what, from 1970? I'm assuming the foundation must be historical. It certainly isn't the dish, the satellite dish.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, I told him, I'm like, he goes, maybe you don't know historical homes. I'm like, well, I did live in a 125-year-old Victorian.
It is cool that like half of the wall is falling out, though. Like in real talk, like it is cool to see how deep that wall goes. Like, how many more rocks are behind? Like it does. I mean, that's obviously a building that has stood for a long time.
Like the ice house, I think it was.
Yeah.
But fix it up. Give it to Farmer Dan. Make it a farm to table class. You know, make it like a community center for the teens, or fix up the barn and make it a place where you spend more money to rent it, but you do higher end, things there.
How
it up.
Baller would that be if it were literally like a teen center and they cleaned it up and lit it up super bright and made it this beautiful historical piece?
I've asked for video games for the clubhouse. I've asked for Netflix password so that kids can sit in there and watch it and not have to use their parents' password. Right. I've asked for all these things for the kids. I mean, granted, pool table's great, but you're just one shot from a kid running, doing that green thing. I mean, and I don't play pool, but destroying it. I said, is it so hard to go to Costco maybe and just get like one of those, video game standing things they have there for what, like $200? Is that so hard? Give something for the kids, because clearly we can't use the pool that they knew about last year because everybody complained about the feet and they did nothing.
Okay, so...
Sorry, I'm digressing on a lot of other topics. But it's just,
listen.
I mean, I see all this stuff from them.
Right.
And it gets aggravated. It's so aggravating to me. But, I mean, so that was the soccer field. So that was just another example of them being a little bit petty to me. I mean, I don't need the accolades. I could care less. But, people please.
It's communication.
Exactly.
That's what they could have even done the nuts and sent you a 2-line email saying, hey, Trish, we went ahead and did this on our own. Thank you for the idea. I hope you and your son get to enjoy them.
Well, and I did
You're
ask.
welcome.
I did ask for them to tell me when the soccer field, or not the soccer field, but when the field was going to be open, because I had planned to do like a big dodgeball game, or I had planned to do like a big water, like a Nerf gun or water things, just so we can break in the field. They didn't tell me that either. I was like, what a way to have a free event. And everyone's like, look at us coming together, but it's free and they look good, but they don't have to pay for anything. But they didn't do that either. So the communication now has dropped. It's dropped a lot.
What you just said, you can look really good and just
do nothing.
Just let's just put some thought into this.
Let me do me, but you didn't let me do me. You didn't even contact us.
The thing I'm worried about is ultimately wonderful people like you and Tina and Gina and
and everybody else who still does their thing.
Everyone
else. The Dades, the Fatones.
That those people get burnt out from working with the HOA and decide, hey, I'm not interested. And that leaves, it's kind of like the discussion that people always have with politicians. It's like, why can't we get somebody good in there? It's like, well, nobody good would take that job.
They can't last. They don't want
Right. They don't want to have to go through what they would have to go through to make it to the top. And I think that's such a travesty, right? Like, that's such a terrible thing. And on a local little community level, if that happens, then who's going to end up being the HOA rep in 10 years? And what will our HOA do for us over the next 10 years? If we don't have good, competent, community-loving people like yourself, that's what I'm afraid of. So I keep, people proposed the other day, hey, we should make a separate social committee that just runs off of their own thing and does their own thing. And then it's like, okay, but
competition.
And then, one group that slogs through the trash or at least attempts to work with the HOA obviously is going to be frustrated that there's another group, right? Do you ever do any adventure races, like Spartan Race or something?
No, I'd like to think I could, but let's face it, it's not happening.
I'm sure you could, but and neither have I, by the way. But I listened to this great interview with the CEO of the Spartan race, and he said the Spartan race and the Tough Mudder race were in this like heated competition. So the Spartan race would come out, schedule an event, popularize it. Hey, we're going to be in Massachusetts, or we're going to go to Montana, or we're going to go to Washington on such and such a date, and then the next day, Tough Mudder would come out. We'll be there the day before. So they would literally snake
and that's what
it.
we don't want. We don't want that.
So if we don't want that.
This is my proposal. Would you like to hear it before we go to National Night Out?
God bless you, woman. Go.
Okay, so my proposal is give them the wagon. Give them the Christmas wagon. Give them the Christmas wagon. Let them buy a choir. That Christmas wagon is about $2,000. Give them the wagon. Let them get a choir. Let them get a... I don't care. Let them get the Grinch if they can find one. I've been trying to find one. If anybody knows one, let me know. Let them get a Grinch. Let them get a hot cocoa bar that's fabulous. Let them hire a professional photographer and take pictures. Give them that. Give them National Night Out where they are able to give us an ice cream truck instead of me schlubbing 100 pounds of ice cream. Give them that. That will take up your $5,000. Give them that. And the rest of it's ours. I'll be honest, I'm done with it. After the way they treated us and the disrespect and just seeing how did we let them take it from us to sell homes? How did we let them do it? It was by us, for us. And frankly, I think we need to take it back.
So you're saying, hey, let's have two committees. Let's have an HOA sponsored committee
that does
has
just
a
two
very
events.
Specific scope.
Yeah, two events.
You're going to do the National Night Out, so Trish doesn't have to break her back with hundreds of pounds of ice cream.
Get Stella's here with the truck. Get somebody here. I don't know.
Problem. You take the horse and buggy and get a choir, get the Grinch, get the cocoa, bring a photographer. Shoot the hell out of it.
Yep.
Shoot the hell out of it.
Because it's $2,000 just for what we booked for the people here. That doesn't guarantee everybody getting on. So when this gets bigger and bigger, it's only going to increase in price because you're going to need more wagons. You're going to need more weekends. That could go up to $4,000 right there.
Okay, and then separately, the community. And they don't all have to collectively. This is the problem that I kept running into, which is the HOA has funding they have buy-in from the entire community just because, as a guarantee.
You have to. Right.
But then you would have a separate community committee that would then put on events. But who would be funding that? Would it be sponsorships? Would it be...
I've been approached by someone with a large amount of money and I'm not going to say it because it hasn't been finalized yet,
Sure.
To run the committee again, by us, for us. And I'll be honest, I would love to do it for the community. I would love to, with the help of everybody else who does their things, like cornhole tournament. Reach out to us. I mean, we would reach out to each other, see what we can do for each other. Tammy Fatone does this amazing back to school thing. Reach out to each other, see if we can help, that kind of thing. I would love to be able to do that because no matter, the community is going to grow. So we're going to eat more ice cream. So Stella's you're going to need, a bigger budget for that. And then we're going to have more people's butts in a wagon who want their moment, like Tina, who moved here for that, who saw it and said, this is the community I want. And so why doesn't Boise Hunter give us that? Give us the Christmas wagon and give us the National Night Out. And I'm telling you, that's going to take your budget because it was expensive.
Right.
And
$5,000 is
it's nothing. I mean, it goes up every year with more people moving in. And when more people move in, you're going to have more time. I'm telling you, that Christmas wagon is not cheap.
Right.
So you do that. That took up half our budget. So to do that, you just stick with that. Let us have the harvest fair. Let us have Santa. Let us have Easter. Let us have, God, what else do we do? The dodgeball tournament and anything else we want to do for free or the money that we get from sponsors. I already made a budget because I'm on it.
If I may, I think the way you're saying this is not appropriate. You're saying let us have it. As if they can stop you from having it.
True.
Like if Trish wants to throw a fall harvest party, Trish gets to throw a fall harvest party.
I had to cancel it. So this is the kicker. So I'm going to get to the National Night in a minute, but this is the kicker. We planned it. We had everything already planned. We had it already budgeted out because I've been doing budgets. So I booked the food truck. I booked the jumpy. I booked it all, and I canceled it all because I didn't have the funding from them. And this was before I found out people wanted to fund. But I canceled everything. We had costume parades. We had pumpkin carving contests. We had prizes. We had cakewalks. We had vendors. Did you go to the Harvest Fair last year? Were you here?
I got here in January.
So little kids set up their own little things. Like some kid made some cute little kid made bookmarks, sold it for $1. And it was their chance. And it was a chance for the community who actually have their own businesses for adults. But it was a chance for the kids also to make a little cash and, do their own little thing. And it was adorable. Yeah. It was adorable.
Yeah.
And it was all set up, raring to go. And not anymore. Christmas was all set up. Actually, Christmas is still set up. I won't let them take that away from Tina.
Well, look, I don't know any reason why what you're proposing actually sounds really good, because it's, hey, we won't get a wagon. Yep. You take the wagon.
Have the wagon.
We won't do a national night out.
It's going to kill Tina, but take the wagon.
Take the wagon.
Sorry, Tina. They took the wagon.
You know what? We can't all have what we want, right? Like,
she can ride in it.
Like, the next clubhouse is going to be on the west side of the community. I don't want that. I want it on the east side. But, like, we all can't get the wins, right? Like, somebody's going to get the next clubhouse.
I just want my grocery store.
Oh, so what kind? Are you talking Albertsons? What are you talking about?
It's not going to make me popular, but give me Albertsons. I don't care, people. It's not going to make me popular. I want an Albertsons. I want an Albertsons. I want a pizza place, please, one that actually serves decent pizza, that I don't have to schlep all the way. And I'm sorry, it's not going to be popular. I don't like Idaho pizza. I don't like, what's the other one? Mountain Mike's. That was sucking in California.
Yeah, Mountain Mike's is terrible.
What's the other one?
Sorry, Mountain Mike's. I don't
What's
like
the other
you.
one?
Idaho pizza. I don't know.
I know. There's one more I don't like. And I don't like them. Sorry, I don't like you. Give me a decent pizza place. Give me the Wilder. Give me something up here. But that's another story. But that's why I moved here, is because I was like, I can get old and I can ride my golf cart to Albertsons.
Get old. Hang on. I got a pizza place that my buddies have started going to that they say
is it Casanova?
Amazing.
Because Casanova's amazing people.
Amazing people.
It is. It's the best.
Uncle Bob's.
I heard about that, but where is that?
I don't know, but Mike Fagan apparently owns Uncle Bob's. Mike Fagan, holla, hit me up. Apparently, Uncle Bob's is fantastic.
Yeah, because, again, I'm constantly on a diet like every other woman. So at night when my husband watches movies that I don't want to watch, I look at food. I'm like, oh, look, pizza. Oh,
Trish,
look at cake.
What are you holding out for at this point? Like, just go hard.
I'm 49. I can't do it.
Who cares?
I can't do it. Like, I got to fit in pants.
I mean, no, that's why we invented stretch pants.
I'm wearing stretch pants. And it's still not stretchy enough. Come on.
It's not stretchy enough. Yeah, listen, I love that idea of having two committees. They get their marketing arm. You're not stepping on toes.
No,
you guys can enjoy each other's events harmoniously. You get outside
I would support them
sponsorship.
wholeheartedly. I would support Boise Hunter wholeheartedly to give us the wagon and the National Night Out. I would support them without a doubt.
Right. We don't have to be everything for everyone.
Yeah.
Like the Boise Hunter, let's call it the Boise Hunter Social Committee, does not have to be everything for all of Dry Creek Ranch. Dry Creek Ranch can have its own thing. And you all right?
Sorry, did you hear Darth Vader? That's my text. My text voice is Darth Vader. Let me just do that. It's a hit in class when I substitute classing.
Can you see it from over here? There's a Luke Skywalker helmet on the floor over here.
We love Star Wars. If ever you see us, my son will be like, with our lightsabers, our Poon little lightsabers, like, it's over, Anakin. I have the high ground.
I did. I sent you that lightsaber video I made with my son the other day.
Yeah, it was the best. I loved it. We love Star Wars. And like Clone Wars, we're not so big on the new ones with Rey. I mean, honestly, come on, Kylo Ren. I liked you, but...
You didn't like the last one?
No. I felt they were riding the nostalgia wave. I actually, now that I revisit the Darth Vader ones, the Revenge of the Sith, I start to like them, though I hate Natalie Portman. Ugh, such an eye roller. I can't stand her.
She's the worst.
She's horrible.
She's absolutely the worst.
Ugh.
Natalie Portman was just such a dump truck in that movie.
Oh, she's horrible.
And the whole thing, what's interesting? This poor actress. Now, I don't particularly care for Natalie Portman, but even in this movie, the actress was just charged.
Shifting.
Yeah, take your time.
Shifting.
The actress was charged with playing a character that was like stuffy and pathetic, and she nailed it. I was like, this is the most annoying character.
Yeah, I really didn't like her.
You do not stand with us. I was like, I'm gonna vomit everywhere.
No, wait. I have
Annie, what are you doing?
No confidence in Chancellor Valor.
I vote no confidence. Yeah, no.
I wanted to do an epic pool noodle battle, but no one wanted to do it with me. I wanted to do it till the last man stand. I was going to do it on some green space near the barn, and I was like, the last man standing is the epic pool noodle battle. I was going to play the Star Wars theme. I was coming out like I have the Emperor's robe. I was coming out like the whole shebang. No one wanted to do it.
God bless you, woman.
I wanted to have the captains do Braveheart speeches like, we will fight and we will win, but no one wanted to do it.
You really are a social committee chair.
Well, I was an actress.
It is in your bones.
Well, I was an actress on off-Broadway and European tours and Eastern Seaboard tours. So to me, like life's a show and life's an adventure. And if you can have everybody else join in your adventure, then you got a good time.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well,
sorry, we're digressing again back off Star Wars.
No, I love this idea. I love this split HOA. I love the no conflict. I love everyone can win. I think that's wonderful. I would love to participate in the events and helping somehow.
Anybody can help out they want. Or if you have an event you want to do, like you want to do the pool noodle battle, we will totally support you. Let's get some costume, or let's get some dude dressed up like Luke Skywalker out there. I mean, I'm guaranteed we can find one. Or let's play the Imperial March. I'm pretty sure I got it on my iPod, or whatever. My did I just say iPod?
Yes.
Dang,
it's okay.
I just aged myself.
Dated yourself. I have my original iPod at home.
You do?
Still.
Does it work?
It does. You have to find a charger for it. And those are, remember
those are
that
hard.
big wide ones?
Yeah.
I think we have one left at home. But yeah, I have
Sacred.
it's my wife got
those
it for me.
things were so cool,
They
though.
were so cool. It was this
they hold so many
one.
songs. Yeah, and they were clippy when you ran. Not that I ran.
A little clippy when you ran.
Not that I ran, people.
God
Let's face
bless
it.
you, woman. Well, listen to me. We've been talking for almost 2 hours.
Oh my God, we didn't even get to the good stuff.
Oh, well, no. Go.
If you want to edit it in.
No, I want you to tell me right now. I have nowhere else to be. What
time is
stuff? It is 12:45.
Oh, I've got time before a potential play date.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay, so I have to tell you this. I'm sure you'll
not 2 hours. Excuse me, hour and a half.
I'm sure you'll edit it. You'll edit it.
No,
I'm
not editing anything.
Oh Lord, I'm sorry for everyone who's going to listen to this long time. You're probably like, dang. I mean, we knew Trish could talk, but this is ridiculous.
They can turn it off whenever
they want. This is true. You can always mute me. You know how I am. So wait, let me get to National Night Out. I want to do National Night Out because first of all, National Night means something a lot to me. Because our neighbors,
like getting out of the house.
Well, no, my neighbor's son, Kathleen and Shane Walter, he died in the line of duty. Okay. He was a canine handler. We met him, and he was a wonderful person. And we saw him with his son, with his daughters, and he was a wonderful father. And he died from Lyme's disease that he got from canine training. So today is his birthday, and I just wanted to say to Kathleen that we're there for you. And I cry a little bit because being a mom, I understand. So we do this every year now in honor of Justin Walter. And because of and it's the right thing to do too. So we do it every year in honor of him. So it meant something to us. So this year, James Andrisi made a homemade knife. Amazing. This guy, I don't know how he does it, but he made a homemade knife and he auctioned it off for us for $440. And bam, we had our ice cream money. So but I needed money because ice cream's expensive. So I needed money for bowls. We usually do toppings, but I was like, look at whatever. Mary Irby was just like, why don't we do Scoops? I work there, and I'm like, sweet, who doesn't love Scoops? So we got all the ice cream from Scoops Ice Cream, and we figured it could stand on its own. It didn't need toppings. But I asked Boise Hunter, through Kristen, can I have $200 for a gift certificate to Winco? I don't want to put it on my card. I don't want my check to bounce. I don't want to deal with it anymore. How about you just give me a gift certificate? And she ignored me for the longest time, as everyone can probably understand. So about 2 days before the event, I said, I need that gift certificate. I need to buy dry ice to keep the ice cream cold because last year it turned to soup. And because, of course, the air conditioning is set at 78 degrees in the clubhouse. So I don't know about you, but my hot flashes can't handle it. So certainly no, the ice cream can't. But she ignored me. And so finally, the day before, she shows up at my house with $200 cash, which I didn't ask for, but I'll take. And I signed something saying I took it. And I said to her, hey, this is, she goes, I said, I don't know how much I'm going to need. I really don't know. But if there's anything left over, I'll use for the harvest fair. And she said, oh, yeah, how nice, lovely. Yay, I can't wait. And then she left. And I said, I'll save my receipts. So we go to 3 stores, no dry ice. My husband's driving me, no dry ice. No ice, even. I'm like, oh my God, we got to pick up the ice cream. So then we went and let me tell you how much ice cream did we pick up? 165 pounds. Okay. How much ice did we pick up? 105 pounds. So here we are carrying this. And it's my pleasure to do so for Kathleen and Shane. It's my pleasure. But it would have been nice for a little appreciation from Boise Hunter, but I digress on that. So anyways, I was in a rush. I had to get back to the clubhouse. I have ice cream and ice in my car, and I just need it out so that we can start this event. I forgot the receipt from Exxon. Sorry, I'm human. And I got kind of yelled at about it. I said to her, I told her, I'm like, oh, I have the receipts, but I forgot the $45 from Exxon. And then she sent back, she goes, I went out on a limb for you. I told accounting that this was going to, that I gave them my word. Now someone's going to have to pay that $45 out of their paycheck. And she said it would be her. So now I'm going like, great, now I cost you $45 from your paycheck. And I sent her back and I said, how petty is this? You do know that we gave $440 to this. And that the ice cream I gave, Bill and I gave ourselves $35 because it went over the $440. So I said, you do know we gave our money to this as well. She goes, it's not petty, Trish. It's called accounting. I'm like, well, I understand, but I did ask for a gift certificate, so it would be easier for accounting, right? And I said, how about you guys give us a $5,000 credit card? And you do online purchases through there, and then you see where the money's going. And then you can say, hey, you guys went to Winco, what did you buy? And I can say, oh, we'll save our receipts. But honestly, I forgot a receipt. So what did I do? I didn't charge you for gas, but then I went to the next day and I went and Exxon found the receipt for me and I gave the receipt back to her. But it was just another example of pettiness. So this is when it gets to the good part, guys. Not that so sorry, you waited this whole long time. It's more of a done. So 2 hours before the HOA meeting, we get the email. And I have my phone, again, probably because I'm looking for food. And so we have the HOA meeting. We have the email, and it says, you've done such a great job. Thank you for your service, but your year has come to a close. We had a year. And what else did they say? They said, please return everything that you have purchased with HOA funds. And you know what? Thank you so much. You did a great job. So immediately I'm texting my girls, Gina and Tina, and I'm like, did you see what I just saw? And they said, no, let me look. And then they look and I'm like, am I wrong in thinking we just got fired? And because I'm like, Roddy Piper with a chair. I don't want to jump from the top turnbuckle and be wrong here, right? So they were on the same page as me. And so I said, oh my God. So then, so we're angry. And immediately we're like, what's going on with the harvest fair? What's going on with Christmas? What's going on with the wagon? What's going on with everything we planned? What's the transition? Why didn't we get a meeting? Are they taking it over? Are we continuing it? Is someone else doing it? So many questions, no answers. So then I called Kristen. She didn't pick up. Shocker. And so then I texted Kristen on her personal phone, which I don't have anymore, just because I didn't want to be tempted to say anything, so I got rid of it.
Look at that self-control.
Right?
Good for
Super
you.
proud of me. And that took 49 years to get, right? Snap, cup, right? So anyways, so I texted her and I said, hey, can you tell me, we want a little clarification. I'd like it by end of business day. And as to what's going on. I mean, are you replacing us? And I asked her all the questions. And she said, I'm so busy with the HOA meeting. I just don't have time for this. I'll talk to you tomorrow afternoon. And we all know what that means. You ain't calling me. You ain't calling anybody. So I'm upset. And I'm upset because now we're like, what about all the stuff? What about all the stuff for the community? And no offense, F you. After how dare you fire me and Tina and Gina from your committee? You didn't even start. You didn't do any of this. The phase one people started it. Then everyone else took over when they got biddy. So you're firing us from a committee you didn't even have anything to do with in the beginning? Here's a big F you to you guys. Or as I like to say when I'm substituting, beep. Because you can't swear, like beep off, people.
That's why I had my own classroom. I swore like a sailor.
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
I just insert the beeps.
So she says,
I don't have time for you.
I'm going to put a pin in this and get back to you later.
Right before the HOA meeting.
And so then you go to the meeting.
Go to the meeting. And I wasn't going to say anything. I wasn't. I was on fire already about lack of amenities and the swamp and, all the whole thing. I was already on fire. And I was upset because this stuff means something to me. It means something to me as it means something to everybody else. And
but that's not fair. Like you have,
it was rude as hell.
The events mean something to me as a community member, but you as the person driving around looking
and all the work we put into it
means more to you.
I mean, literally, we just did National Night Out with 200 pounds of stuff, and you're going to tell me in an email, by the way, thanks for your service. Don't let the door hit you on the beep. You know what I'm saying? So we get to the meeting. I wasn't going to mention it. And then Steven, stupidly enough, goes, hey, you guys in your social committee are doing a lot of stuff. I'm sure he didn't sound like that, but
It's pretty close. It's pretty close.
It's pretty fact. So then my husband, who we were standing next to, goes, you just disbanded them, right? And so then, of course, everyone's already pissed. And then I'm like crying because I'm like, I'm so upset with this. I'm like, you took everything away from us and you have no idea. Like, and to be honest, I didn't know until that moment how it meant to everyone else. Like, everyone was so upset for us. And I wanted to thank everyone because I didn't realize. I mean, I'm humbled. We're humbled. We're appreciative. We're the whole shebang. Because, I mean, we are your extra amenities. Do you know what I'm saying? Everything that this community provides, everything we did, we're the extra amenities that Boise Hunter doesn't provide. And I thought he handled it extremely poorly. And so I handed her all of my stuff and I gave it to her in pennies. Take that. I gave her all of her cash and pennies. Most of it.
How many pounds of pennies was
No,
it?
it wasn't a lot. But it was a good chunk of it was pennies. And
It was
I'm sorry.
75 pounds of pennies.
I just shoved it to her with all the stuff that I bought. And she's just like, hi, Trish. And I'm like, what? Give me some Jimmy John's. Actually, I don't even like Jimmy John's, but at least
I
I'm
appreciate it.
gonna take
I like dried meats. The communication that night.
It was horrible.
So I was standing at that window, and you and I hadn't formally met yet.
Yeah.
But I looked over. I was like, this woman does not look happy.
She's going off.
No, it was even before you said anything. I'm like, there's a lot of tension in this room, and I had set up the camera and the tripod up at the front, and I just slinked to the back of like, I'll just wait this one out back here. But it was clear that the people sitting in the back, and it started. Do you know the gentleman who brought up the RV? Alan,
Yeah, Alan.
big guy,
I mean, we're not really
who
close
apparently
friends.
Steven played basketball with. He was very excited to make that connection.
Did he? I missed that.
Oh
I
no,
missed
he was
that.
like, "Hey, you and I played we played basketball together," and I was like, "Okay,
Brohim.
dude, that's not helping your plight right now."
I don't. I mean, we don't hang out socially, but I know them from the neighborhood, and they're lovely people.
Yeah, no, he seemed very fine, and they were really attempting to get clarification on the RV parking
issue, yeah,
and everything else. But again, if he had just come up to you and shook your hand and was like, "I'm so sorry, I didn't know," but he was like, "Oh, my bad,"
Yeah,
and like that just it was like, could you just dump, moonshine on the fire, like gasoline on flame? Like,
and the
what
thing
are
is,
you doing?
they said they'd talk to us tomorrow, but I've been told we'll talk to tomorrow, and then I'm never talked to. So, and I think I want everyone to know I don't do anything without clarification from Tina and Gina. Are we all on the same page? Do we all feel the same way? So it's never just the Trish show. It's always I check in with them. So before I posted it on Facebook and said, hey, just to let you know, we may not be able to bring it up, but I want you to be aware that any extra amenity you did have now is gone, and whatever it is. And I got approval from them to do it because we weren't going to do it until we heard from Kristen. But when she came back to us, even Tina, the most level-headed of us, was like, post it. And I'm like,
post it.
Yeah. I was
do
like,
it.
Dang, Tina.
Yes.
Da-da-da-da-da. And so she did it. We did it. And the response was just overwhelming about how many people and how it meant. And so I think from my perspective, I mean, people can join the social committee. And I'm going to be brutally honest and say, I hope you don't. I really hope you don't, unless you're only helping out with those events, because we started it. Not me, but this community did. And we did it for us. It was by us, for us. And I think we need to take it back. And I want to know who's in with me, who's in to help out and take it back, and let them have the wagon and let them have the ice cream for National Night Out. And we'll help with the National Night Out just because it's for Kathleen and Shane. And I will do that with them because that means something to me. But everything else is ours. And but I don't want to cause a conflict with someone who says, well, I think I'm the person that can work with Boise Hunter. But I don't want to cause that conflict. But I do have a huge chunk of money that I would love to give to the community. And I'd love to throw a lovely harvest fair. And I've already having a personal Christmas party with everyone in this community. And because you better watch out. Somebody's coming to town. So
I hope this all works out.
Yeah. And I just ask everyone to support the food trucks too. Right. I have like a good, 8 of them coming?
Yeah, let's just support our community.
Yeah.
I think people moved here because they wanted, at least in part, community. And it's the best community I've ever lived in. And again, I make content and stuff, but But when I was thinking about I did want to start a podcast. Obviously, I reached out
you're
to
good
you.
at it. You're
I
very
appreciate it.
chill and very nice.
Hey, I do me. There we go. But the point is, after the HOA meeting, I was like, I didn't want that to be the first episode. I was like, it's just going to seem like some crisis thing. And that's not, I don't want to do that. But it was like, this is exactly why, because the community needs some way to communicate collectively on a large scale. And for instance, you want the Albertsons. Okay, wonderful.
Some people might not.
And that's fine.
I
have no problem having somebody who doesn't want the Albertsons maybe right on that corner, backing up the creek, doing whatever. They're just like, come talk to me. Let's talk through this. So the community doesn't become this polarized, there are the people that are for and people are against. It's no. That's Steve. And Steve's backyard would be the loading dock.
Yeah.
And Steve's a really good guy, and he already has a hard time sleeping. And that's why he doesn't want it. Steve's not a bad guy for not wanting the Albertsons.
Exactly.
But that's what it becomes in the absence of a platform where people can meaningfully dialogue. And not in a Facebook post, not in this short little thing, but meaningfully see each other.
You mean not in 150 characters in a question?
God. Oh, my God.
Mine was like part 1, part 2. The revenge, part 3.
The revenge of Trish.
But no, so basically that's kind of what I have a meeting with the sponsors that want to do this. And my proposal is going to be, and we would like to tell Boise Hunter, keep your wagon. Keep it. Keep it. Build it up. I hope you build it up. You got so many people here for
Hype
that.
it up. Hype it up.
I mean, make that your event. I mean, I don't know. Get like Dionne Warwick. I don't know. I just went old school again. But get somebody like, I don't know, Michael Bublé that action. Get somebody there and sing, right? Get somebody to sing there and like carols, choir. I mean, I don't know, hire Elsa to show up. Do you know what I'm saying? Make it the best thing that you could ever do and make it yours and then market the poops out of that. Put it on every flyer you ever have. Put it on make a video, put it on the internet, see the kids singing. Whatever you got to do.
Go hard.
Go hard, go home, right? And then, get us an ice cream truck for National Night Out. Put your name up there and make it the Justin Walter night out, National Night Out for Justin Walter, and make it like you're giving back to the community even more. And that's it, man. That's your whole, $5,000, $7,000, whatever you were going to give.
Right.
And we're going to be happy with that. Until the time where we may take over the HOA or until the time where we may need more money and it comes from you. But for right now, you really soured the relationship, and I think we're all done. At least I am.
Yeah, and no wonder why, obviously. But also the participation, like no sponsorships. What about small businesses that are starting from within the community?
Those businesses were from the community. Every single one of them were people who lived in the community.
No, I know. And that's my point. So you have these local, hyper local, like, hey, that's my neighbor, Grant. Grant was going to sponsor this thing. You have these hyper local people that, like, in the absence of a way to support someone, people get really weird because they start seeking ways to help.
Yeah,
if there's no way for people to have an outlet for that, it's a really sad thing. Like, people want to help other people, and people want to help locally too. And just having a separate entity like what you guys are proposing that can accept sponsorships and can showcase businesses.
And I have to give a shout out to Debbie Pruitt because they had put a lot of pressure on her to give back the money. And again, Honey Badger don't care. So she just stood strong and it was like, you want some more? Because now I'm ready to give you some more. God, love Debbie.
Yeah, she's super nice.
Yeah, she is.
I mean, look, I don't. It's not like we're BFFs, but the interactions I've had with her are great, and she's always been really communicative and very nice. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's a reason why everybody knows her.
But yeah, so I just asked the community to really think about it. If you really think that you want to, and they haven't even put anything out yet, so who knows if they're even going to continue with the social committee after all that went down and after he got yelled at the HOA meeting. I don't even know if they're going to continue. But I would ask that before you look to them, look to your fellow community members who are willing to put up their own money to make this happen for the community. And I'm always willing to lead because, again, I'm semi-retired with my husband, and I'm always willing to lead, but I'm always willing to say, hey, you love Christmas? That's yours. What do you need? Let it do. You want to do an ice cream social for back to school? What do you need? What can we do? Because you always need someone who's the funnel, right?
Right.
So I'm willing to do that. And I just want the community to take back what we started. And before they used it to sell houses.
Right.
That's it.
And God bless Boise Hunter if they want to throw something for the community.
Exactly. Throw a pig roast and hire you to do it. I'm all about that. I have fire eaters I can hire. I found them. I was thinking to myself, this is beautiful. Last night I was surfing the internet. I found some fire eaters. And I said, oh my God, I can get fire eaters to come, but who could get a pig? And now I'm looking at the man who could get us a pig.
Trish.
We should totally do it.
You are like
do you want to do it?
49-year-old female version of me with like 5 espressos.
I don't drink coffee.
God bless you.
I don't even drink. Do you drink coffee?
Oh, hell yeah, I drink
I know.
coffee.
I don't
Look at
drink
me.
coffee. I only drink water.
Okay.
I don't even drink.
Well,
I do dessert.
You know what? I came into
Brownies work.
Brownies work. I was going to get you brownies, but then I didn't
I
know.
just
was
worked
like,
out.
I know. And when you said that, I was like, I shouldn't just stuff sugar
I would have
into
eaten them
the
though,
face.
but I just worked out. No, I don't need them. I don't need them. We all don't need them.
Okay. Do you have anything else?
No, I
on
mean,
your,
look at this. So this in the camera. This is all my notes. My God. I know. I look crazy, but I wanted to make sure, because I feel
You
Boise
look
Hunter.
great. I mean,
Boise Hunter will probably see this, and I want them to understand that I'm not embellishing anything. I'm not adding anything. This is exactly what happened, and they may have a different take because everybody writes history from the perspective of how they lived it. Just like I don't speak for Gina and Tina because my experiences are always a little different than them.
Well, look, I hope they do see this because what we have talked about, what you're proposing, what I'm saying is, it's not that like. Mistakes were made.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's clear. Communication could have been better. That's abundantly clear.
Yeah.
But I think there are very reasonable, for instance, will you do a quarterly HOA meeting? No, not interested. Fine. Why don't, okay, aside from a
What
newsletter.
happened to the quarterly newsletter? Do we still get that?
I would be happy to host anyone from the HOA on a quarterly basis. They don't have to come. They don't have to do, a giant meeting. It's not going to be like they can take as much time to explain things. It's not like I'm not going to ask questions, but we can facilitate better communication. And the way it has been going has not been fruitful.
The optics are horrible.
Horrible for the social committee, right? Do your thing. And we are going to very, privately, but in a public manner, do our thing, right? Like we're going to do things that are sponsored and we're going to do things that we enjoy. And if you guys want to do things and make it a marketing event, do that. No problem. There is no reason why somebody should see this and walk away from it being like, Trish is terrible or like Matt is terrible. It's like, no, look, everyone agrees this was not handled the best way, right? And that's fine. How about we do it better? How about we do this better starting immediately? Why not?
I agree. And I think I kind of want to let the community know that if they don't do anything for Halloween, we're not going to leave you hanging. Okay? I'm not going to let the little kids not get disappointed.
You have no idea what my side of the community is.
What are you guys doing? Are you doing like a harvest fair? No, the trick-or-treating's off the hook. My kid got 30 pounds of candy last year. I mean, really.
I'm not going to say anything.
Oh, come on.
But I will tell you off air. It's
okay.
It's going to be a lot.
Like on the actual Halloween date?
I can't tell you about it. Oh, it's too much. It's too much. It's very exciting.
But we will do. I mean,
yeah. Let's do it all.
We'll see what we see
Let's
tonight.
Do it all.
We'll see what we see when I have a meeting.
I commit right now to have a pumpkin carving contest.
Yeah.
Like whatever people are down for.
Yeah. I already have gift certificates I bought for winners.
I got a lot of it. We'll talk about it off air.
Okay.
Anyway, listen, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everything you have been doing and continue to do. I know you're probably one of those people that's not like hot about compliments, but you kick ass.
I don't really enjoy them, but thank you.
Well, you're doing fine. So look, you're the best. Thank you from myself and everyone else in the community. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, everybody.
We chased our pleasures here, dug our treasures there. But can you still recall the time we cried? Break on through.